children of all ages, I need you to just take a second. I know it's early. I know we're just getting the day started. I know that you're probably going through your AM routine. Maybe you're one of the early risers. You've already been up and run your 5K this morning. Maybe you're out there a little south of the GVL and you've gotten up and fed the chickens and milked the cows already. Maybe you're one of those big city business folks. You're sitting at the kitchen table reading the stock market report or whatever you read in the mornings. All right, you got your Wall Street Journal out. You're sipping your very high-end French coffee out of the tiny little coffee cup. Whatever it is that you're doing, I need you to just stop for a second. I need you to just take a seat. I need you to take one deep breath, and I need you to allow yourself to enjoy a moment of raw, unbridled happiness. Because, ladies and gentlemen, because America, finally, it is football day. I don't care if it's a bunch of guys we've never heard of. I don't care if it's a bunch of guys that we'll never hear of again. I don't care if the starters for the Lions and the Chargers play 60 seconds or 60 snaps or 60 minutes. I don't care. I care that at 8 p.m. this evening, Eastern Standard Time, two professional American sports teams are going to gather in Canton, Ohio. And half of them are going to stand over there, and half of them are going to stand over there. And some dude in a striped shirt and a white hat is going to put his hand in the air. He's going to blow a whistle. And some skinny dude that otherwise does not fit in amongst these men is going to throw his hand up in the air. Then he's going to approach a football. He's going to kick the crap out of it. He's going to send it 70 yards the other way. Another dude is going to catch that football, and then 22 men are going to run at each other, collide into each other, knock the hell out of each other, and all of us collectively, as a nation, as a country, we are all, for 2.5 to 3 hours and 15 beautiful minutes, we're all going to be together on the same page. In an era where this country is defined by polarization. In an era where everybody argues about everything. Ketchup, good, bad. Pineapple on pizza. The president, the Senate, the Congress, the judges. We fight about everything. But tonight, at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, all of that's getting put to bed for just a few minutes. Tonight, at 8 p.m., all of that goes to the back of the brain. Tonight, at 8 p.m., we're not talking politics. We're not talking religion. We're not talking food. We're not talking drinks. We're not talking music or movies or anything else that we fight over. Tonight at 8 p.m., from the East Coast to the West, the Atlantic to the Pacific, from the Appalachian to the Rockies, and at all points in between, there is one and only one thing that matters. Football is back, baby. Okay, I feel good. Got it off the chest. All right. I apologize. I didn't mean to get preachy there. But if I was ever going to turn on this microphone, if I was ever going to risk the long-term hearing of the great one Lonzo to just shout relentlessly for 5 minutes and 45 seconds about any topic, I feel like that was a pretty good one to do it.
Yeah, the only thing I disagree with you on is we're all going to watch the first quarter.
Who's not going to watch the first quarter?
No, we're all going to watch the first quarter, not the entire game.
Oh, no, I'll be there every snap. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I told the great one when I rolled up here, when I left the Fortress of Nerditude, and I made my way over here to the studio, when I sat down, I said, you know what, great one, I got to be honest with you, just in case, because this impacts you more than it impacts me. This impacts your ability to do your job. This impacts the job that you have to do more than it impacts me. Old Robbie B didn't get a great night of sleep last night. Wasn't my fault. Well, it was very much my fault. I didn't go to bed till like midnight. I stayed up. I watched a little WNBA. I watched a little baseball, not the Braves, because why would I?
What the hey, dude?
Yeah, I agree. I didn't go to bed till midnight. And that's okay. It happens sometimes. All right. I get my 3.5, 4 hours. It just means I got to take a siesta the next day. And I'm good with that, you know? So I didn't go to bed till like midnight. By the way, the lady friend was working. If she's in the bedroom, tap, 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 tap on the laptop. All right. Because one of the many things we have in common, and I think Zoe will attest to this as well. I have been described before as an angry typer. All right. I tap hard enough on the laptop that I probably should not have a company-issued computer.
Well, certain circumstances make it worse, but yeah.
That's fair and entirely true. So the wife's the same way. She's kind of an angry typer. She's gonna fight me on that. And I don't think she's up and listening. And if she is, she's probably going to text me and be like, hey, you lying son of a... She's an angry typer. So if she, because she has a real adult job, like a grown-up job, not like me and Zoe, who have both been in this career for a very long time, because we get to show up wearing soccer jerseys and wrestling T-shirts. Our job's amazing.
And sandals.
And sandals.
Don't forget that part. I'm not
Big fan.
I'm not showing you my feet because it freaks Rob out. But anyway.
She was working. I'm in the other room. I got the WNBA on TV. I got 2 different baseball games on my 2 laptops, playing a little video games on the big TV. And when she said, all right, I'm done, I said, all right, night, night. And I looked over. I was like, oh, damn, it's midnight. That's all right. It's fine. No big deal. Happens sometimes. So I went to bed. And then sometime around 1:45, 2 a.m., our power went out. Not for very long, just for a little while. I don't know what caused it. I don't know if, like, somebody put their car into a power pole or a transformer blew.
Nah, our power went out somewhere around 8 o'clock. So just for a brief moment, some mean storms rolled through.
Some mean storms did roll through. So I genuinely don't know what caused it, but the power went out. And the dogs, being dogs, responded to it. They were not happy. Well, that's the big dog. The little dog's got a much more high-pitched bark. So it's like, you got like 2 different wavelengths. It jolted me awake. And
were they in harmony?
Oh, God, no. God, no. About anything ever, by the way. So the 2 dogs are losing their gosh darn minds in the middle of the night. And you all have experienced that lovely little moment where you are jolted awake from deep sleep, and it's just raw, unbridled adrenaline. You know what I'm talking about. Like a feeling that Red Bull wishes they could figure out how to carbonize and put into a can because they become the most valuable company on earth.
Yeah, I got to fight something. I don't know what it is, but I got to fight something.
You know the feeling I'm talking about. It was that kind of jolted awake. And so I wake up and it's go time. I'm up now. And it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. Well, wouldn't you know it? Oh, Robbie B couldn't go back to sleep until about 2:45 in the morning for his alarm to pop off. Now, I even said, you know what? I'm going to give myself an extra 15 minutes on the back end. I moved the alarm from my normal 3:30 spot back to 3:50. I'm like, I'll just speed up the AM process. I'll just speed up the morning routine a little bit, but I'll give myself an extra 20 minutes of nighttime sleep of an hour and a half to almost 2 hours. Didn't go back to sleep till like 2:45. Alarm hits at 10 till 4, and I wake up and forgot that I had moved the alarm and promised myself I'd speed up the morning routine. So I wake up in just a full-on panic. Oh, God, I'm running late. Get up, fly through the shower. Did not get to take my morning hot as the devil's undercarriage shower. It's my favorite part of the day, is that AM shower that's blistering hot. It's the best part of the day. Didn't get to enjoy that. I did have to stop up and pick up, for the record, the first monster that I've had since I came back from Charlotte. All right. I was like, nope, breaking the streak. Don't care. Stop, came here, blah, blah. Got stuck behind Slow Car Guy. I got to give him a little credit today, though, because when I caught up to Slow Car Guy today, I counted, because I had time. I was driving at a walking pace. There were 6 cars stacked up behind him. Six cars stacked up on behind him on Haywood today. And I'm going to give him credit, because at least today he pulled over into the middle neutral lane and he let us all pass before he pulled back out to snail's crawl. Just walk, dude. It'll be the same speed. Got here.
That is so weird.
It was weird. I preached, for the record. This time I gave him the old 2-finger, like, appreciate it, little kind of side.
As opposed to the 1 finger that you normally get.
100%.
Okay.
1,000%.
Maybe he saw it was you and panicked.
No, I was 6 cars back. He couldn't.
Oh, okay. All right.
Point here is, last night sucked a lot for me. And most of the time, when I have a night like that, when I get in here, the great one can tell, because there's 2 things. Number 1, I'm a grouchy S of a B. Number 2, my sports flash is all jacked up to hell, and Lonzo has to turn into a Harvard literature professor to figure out what I meant, what words I was trying to type, and get it all fixed and corrected in time for the first sports flash at 7 a.m. Neither of those things true. I strolled in this place today like it was the opening scene and I was the guest star on Sesame Street and I get to work with Cookie and Elmo. Just happy as a clam, man. I rolled up into this bad boy today like I hit the lottery last night. Bouncy. Saw a fat boy down in the park and I'm like, what's up, you handsome son of a you-know-what? He's like, what? You good? Like, I'm great, bud. I am fantastic. How are you? Came upstairs today. Saw like 3 people in the hallway, every one of them, including people, because they're not morning people, although we all work in the morning. There are some people that work here in the AM. They're not what we in the biz call morning people. They don't want to talk to you in the morning, which I get it. I understand.
Yeah, Tara doesn't really talk to anybody, so
that's also fair. But I wasn't talking about that. There's a couple of people that work in various parts of the building. Not really morning people. They're not mean, but they're just like...
She walks with a purpose. It has nothing to do with being
for sure.
Friendly.
Yeah, not her. But there's other people here in the building who work here in the AM. And for the record, I'm not a morning guy either, except today. Today I am. And I walked down the hall and I saw someone that I know isn't a morning person. That even though, as Lonzo has pointed out, it's uncomfortable for me to see someone and not greet them. I did it this morning. Lonzo walks in, didn't say anything up front because I'm trying to get better about like not needing to fill silence with noise. But even today, he walked in and after like a minute, I'm like, I can't do it. Hello. I can't help myself. I saw this person who I know is not a morning person, doesn't want to have a conversation in the AM, and as they turned the corner, I looked and I went, beautiful day, what's up? Couldn't help myself. Beautiful day, what's up? Who says that? I do. I do on this day because it's a beautiful day because, again, not 14 hours from now, ladies and gentlemen, 13 hours and 45 minutes from now, you, me, and all of you beautiful patriots across these great United States are going to sit down, click on the big screen, pop open the beverage of your choice, and we're going to watch the Lions and the Chargers get it started. We're going to watch 2 head coaches who have a lot to prove in Dan Campbell and Jim Harbaugh. We're going to watch a couple of quarterbacks who have a lot to prove, I assume, in Jared Goff and Justin Herbert.
I don't think Justin Herbert's playing. Pretty sure.
In Jared Goff and whoever's going to start for the Chargers.
Looking it up, and I think it might be Taylor Heineke. So
don't care. Give him a shot. Hey,
I love Heineke. By the way, I'm talking about the player. He, I think he's amazing for at least a few plays every time he gets in a game.
I don't care who it is, and let me tell you why. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to tell you why right now. We're going to take a break, and when I come back, I would like to talk to you, all of you, America, about why, if you are one of these people who has spent the last however many months or the last 16 minutes going, it's a preseason game, who cares, dummy?
We're going to get to see Hendon Hooker play. Who doesn't want to see that?
Actually, I really do.
Yeah.
I kind of really do. Young man out of Tennessee blew his ACL out, had real high hopes. I'm actually interested because he went to New England. For a hot minute there were some folks going, maybe Hendon Hooker's a dude. Maybe he's a guy. He had a lot to learn, though. Very rough QB1 around the edges when he got drafted. But a lot of people very interested, me being one of them. So when we come back, I know that there are some of you who are saying, Rob, it's preseason. Who cares? You dummy. And I know that because we just got a text on the Hub City Spartanburger text line at 844-326-3663 that says, hey, Rob Brown, it's a preseason game. Who cares, you dummy? Direct quote. So, texter, and all of you who agree with him, when we come back here in just a minute, I am, for the final time in 2025, I'm going to tell you why preseason games are actually awesome. I'm not talking about if you're a hardcore like me and we're going to be breaking down X's and O's. I might very well, depending on who starts on what side and how deep they go, we might even pop up a little film room with Rob Brown tonight. Haven't done one of those in a while because it's been the off season. We might pop up a little game film tonight, little recap, maybe pick a play we really like that works and break down into why it worked and why it was awesome. I'm talking about just from the standpoint of dudes and chicks who like football. I'm going to tell you why when we come back. If you think preseason football isn't worth the time, you're flat out, unquestionably wrong. Because you are. And I'll tell you why next. He's the great one, Lonzo. I am Rob Brown. It is going to be 4 hours of raw electricity because, y'all, football is back. And after this break, so is the Rob Brown Show here on the Fan Upstate. Nailed the segue.
Well done. Amazing to have witnessed that.
Would you consider that cutting a promo, the football take? I feel like I would. I feel like I consider that cutting a promo.
See, the thing is, radio is basically cutting a promo every segment. But, yeah, I mean, if you wanted to know if it was more wrestling-like, I would say yes.
Wrestling-like, but with like a... Do you remember when Devon was had the preacher gimmick for like 10 minutes?
Yeah, because Batista was his deacon.
He was. All right, guys. Stay right there. I get to go take the medication. BRB. is tonight, 8 p.m., live from Tom Benson Stadium in Canton, Ohio, home of, and this may or may not be a surprise, the NFL's Hall of Fame.
Also where Canton McKinley High School plays their football, if they still do. And I have been there for a Canton McKinley High School game. As Canton versus Massillon. And I realized I was in high school at the time that I was glad that we didn't play either Canton or Massillon because they look like a college football team.
I assume if you play like in that spot in the Midwest, Cam, I'm coming to this. There's a reason that I said that. Cam Newton had a take the other day. He got asked on his podcast by his producer or somebody, what state in 2025 is producing the best and most talented football players overall. And the ordinary answers are always Texas, California, Florida. Those are the three states that always get mentioned. And Cam said he thinks that it's gotten to a point where there's like different spots that produce
that's
one
always,
individual or one position.
That's always ticked me off when I've heard that.
Yeah, I think if you look, and I think somebody did this a couple of years ago. I'll see if I can find it. But somebody actually went and they looked, and you can see a correlation between number of stars on average per recruit, and Texas, California, and Florida are always in the top three. But Cam said, and it's kind of position by position. Like if you want big, strong linemen, you go to the Midwest. If you want big tight ends, you go up to like Iowa, Nebraska. But he said if you could only recruit out of one state, like you were only allowed to take players from one state, Georgia is now the state that you would want to go to. And I don't think it's terribly unfair. I think Ohio is probably in that produces big, mean dudes category. So, Canton, Ohio, tonight, NFL Hall of Fame game. I am being very sincere when I tell you, I absolutely love, adore the NFL preseason. I am a huge fan. And I am a big fan of the NFL's preseason for two reasons. The first is, and this is the side that I think is not going to appeal to people who watch football casually. Again, not an insult. That's the overwhelming majority of people who watch football. I think the people who watch football casually, as was stated in the excellent movie, which we have to talk about later because holy crap, the numbers. Happy Gilmore 2. There's kind of this, without giving spoiler alert away, there is a part of the plot is the PGA Tour is up against this new aspiring fun league of golf that's trying to replace the PGA. And one of the hooks of that, again, not important in the movie, it's just kind of a throwaway line, but one of the people says to in the movie, acting commissioner of the PGA Tour, people watch the PGA Tour because they want to watch the best. And how many times have we said that on this show? We want to watch the best, no matter what we're talking about. Basketball, soccer, hockey, football, doesn't matter what we're talking about. We as Americans, we want to watch the best at whatever the thing is that we're talking about. And it's relatively obvious when we're not. You want to know the reason that no matter how hard they try, you can't get a spring football league off the ground? It's not because there's not good players. It's not because there's not good competition. It's because we as Americans know that these guys aren't the best. And to ask us to take time out of our very busy lives to watch a thing, we want to watch the best. So I understand that a lot of people are kind of turned off to an NFL preseason game because the guys that are playing, with the exception of a few minutes early in a game, aren't the best. Let me tell you why that's kind of irrelevant for this. Because if the number one thing that we want to watch is the best, if that's the hook, if that's the thing that gets you, I think the second thing that makes us tune into and love sports is some combination of drama or love of the game, or maybe a little bit of both. You're getting both tonight. You're getting both every NFL preseason game. There are going to be on the field tonight and on the field for every NFL preseason game for the next 4 weeks as we roll through it. Because we've got tonight, then we've got 7 days to wait until next Thursday when we have, 4 games, I think? And then we got a handful of games on Friday, and then we got a handful more on Saturday, and then we got a few on Sunday, 3 on Sunday. Every one of those games should be, I think, interesting to you. The reason why is, yes, we love to watch the best.
By the way, I think the Panthers' first game is next Friday.
Correct. Saints' next game, first game is the final game on Sunday of next week. Your Chiefs are Saturday, I believe, their first preseason game. We want to watch the best. We tune in for the best. If it ain't the best, we don't want to watch it or tune in. And I understand that for these preseason games, the overwhelming majority of snaps taken on these NFL fields will not be by the best in the NFL. It doesn't matter. It's still going to be fantastic. Because if wanting to watch the best, isn't it for you? One of the things that I have heard out of college football fans for years, because I am self-admitted, and I understand that this is to some degree blasphemous across a good chunk of the southern United States of America. I'm an NFL first guy. So is the great one, Lonzo. Doesn't mean we don't love college football. We do. But it's like 1A, 1B. I'm an NFL guy first. I do love college football. And across the many markets I broadcasted in and to across my 18-year career, coming up on 18-year career, one of the things I get hit with why college is better than the NFL is, well, Rob, it's about the passion. It's about the love of the game. The boys out there on Saturdays are playing for love of the game. The guys on Sunday are playing for money. The guys who are playing the game tonight, for the majority of it, next week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all those games, for the majority of it, they are going to be playing not just for the passion and the love of the game. They're going to be playing for their ability to have a job.
They're playing for the dream.
They're playing for a dream.
They're one step away from the dream.
You know what else they're one step away from? Not a dream. For many of them, perhaps a nightmare. Because, especially for the younger guys in the league. Now, there are going to be some vets that have been, up and down from practice squads to roster to practice squad. Maybe journeymen. They've played for 8, 9, 10 different teams around the league. And those guys are also fighting for a job. But there's a lot of young guys that are going to be out there tonight and across 16 preseason games next Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And these are guys, if you make it to the NFL, rare is the cat who makes it to the NFL who hasn't been playing football for 10, 12 years of their life at this point. And for a lot of those guys, the way they got good enough to even be considered to be worthy of making a preseason roster to try to make a regular season roster is by eating, sleeping, breathing, living, loving football for all that time. Which means that if you have been living, breathing, sleeping, eating, and loving football for all that time, you probably really haven't done much else. I mean, you may have some hobbies and maybe you participated in some groups or some clubs in college or whatever. But most of these guys, football has been their life, their identity. It's who and what they are. And they're one of the best 250, 300, 400 players of the game on planet Earth. But there's only room on an active roster for 53 guys 32 times. Now, I'm real bad at math, but that's a lot of guys, but it's like not a lot of guys. That's all the roster spots they got. So when these cats take to the gridiron tonight, when 16 teams take to the gridiron next Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there's going to be a lot of dudes on that squad, on those squads, who recognize if I step between those lines tonight and I suck, If I step between those lines tonight and I don't wreck, I don't show the absolute best I'm capable of, and for many of them, even if they do, it is not I won't make the team. It is not I won't make the dance. It is I might be done. That might be a wrap on my career. That's all. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know that you could get a guy to give you more from sideline to sideline, goal line to goal line for 4 quarters of NFL football than to say, if you are one of the best 53 players that we can sign to our 53-man roster in 5 weeks from now, when the NFL regular season kicks off, if you are one of those 53, you get to keep doing this for a living, probably make good money. Because practice squad guys, they get like $500,000 now to be on the practice squad. You make the active roster, you're making $1 million a year, all things considered. If you are one of the best 53, you get to live the dream for 1 more year. But if you're not, you don't get to. And if you don't, and you don't get to, you may not get to play this game anymore. I told the story a couple of weeks ago of my co-host on Saturday's Bet for the Cycle, Cody Decker, who was a Major League Baseball player. And he'll tell you, he was a minor league call-up to have a body on the Major League roster guy. That's the type of dude you're going to see on the field tonight. And Deck was telling the story of his final year. He was in the batting cage taking BP. A heater came by. It hit the back post of the cage, ricocheted off, pow, right in the back of the noggin. KO'd him, flat, cold stone out. And when he came to, he knew he wasn't right. He knew the old cage got rattled. And when he came to from the cage getting rattled and the trainers came over and they said, "How you doing, buddy?" Even in his rattled state, he recognized, if I tell them I'm anything but great, they're going to sit me down. If they sit me down, I can't perform. If I can't perform, I can't make the roster. If I can't make the roster, I'm done in baseball. So what do you think Cody Decker said to him? "I'm great, guys. In fact, I might be better than I've ever been before. Let's find out." That's the mentality of a lot of the guys who we're going to take to the field tonight. And if that isn't enough for you to say, I should tune in and watch, to watch a bunch of dudes fighting for their lives and their careers, I don't know what would be. I don't know what's going to hook you. That's why your boy is jacked through the roof with 13 hours and 25 more minutes to go until kickoff. Am I counting minute by minute? Absolutely. Yeah, no, for sure. I definitely am. He's Lonzo. I'm Rob. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate.
So I finished the WWE thing yesterday.
How many episodes are there?
5.
You finished all of them?
Yeah.
How was it?
I loved it, but and I don't see where it's going to hurt the business.
Yeah.
Because you know who's not going to watch it? A bunch of the people who are watching wrestling.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it's just it's like watching behind the scenes of a movie.
Yeah.
I like watching that stuff. I think it's really cool to see how they come to decisions, how they make things happen.
I'm the same way.
And all this, the majority of the stuff I already knew anyway. So, picked up a few minor things, but it's more about behind the scenes of the wrestlers.
Yeah.
Because there's a ton of that.
I'm
watching. This is a spoiler. I don't care. Watching Bianca tell Rhea that she's making the braid a little bit harder, that it's probably going to hurt. And Rhea's like, okay. And then she's like, maybe you should make a tattoo out of the whelp that it leaves.
I saw the interview I saw an interview the other day with Bianca talking about the hair whip. And the guy was like, sincere question. Did they put something in your hair to make that noise, to make it that loud? And she goes, no. She goes, the first time that I hit somebody with it, like we thought about using it as a thing, and I don't remember who she said it was. Was it Bailey? I don't remember. She said the first time I hit somebody with it, and it was a thing in an auditorium. She goes, when we heard it echo off the roof and back to the ring, I was like, damn, do I keep doing this? Because that sounded like it hurt. And then they started, he pulled up pictures of the different women that she's hit with it and like the mark that it leaves on them. She's like, yeah, I kind of feel bad, but it's really good TV. I'm like, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I don't want to take it. Would you rather take right now? You have to take one. A Gunther chop or a Bianca hair whip? Which one are you taking?
Well, because of the problems I've had the last couple of days, maybe the Gunther chop would be a bad idea, but I would rather have the Gunther chop because I think that heals quicker. I know it's a broader thing and maybe, but that's so, I mean, the stuff that I watched yesterday and they show close-ups of the aftermath, like, And as someone who had been whipped with a switch many times as a kid, that's what it reminded me of, and no thanks. One of the worst things in the world, go out and pick a switch. Yeah, I know. Whatever. I mean,
no. That's not a judgment.
Trust me, I would never switch my kids. So I mean, I would prefer a paddle or something like that. I never would do a switch because Lonzo made the mistake of going and doing the thing that other people have said, picking a nice green branch. And boy, that's what that reminds me of. The hair whip reminds me of a green switch.
Pick a good one, because if you make me go out there and pick one.
What I should have did, it was break off a sapling and go pick that up. That's what I should have did.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Thank you, Mr. Deep-Voiced Announcer Guy. We appreciate the intro, as we always do. We, being myself, Rob Brown, being Hey, the Great One, Lonzo. Let me tell you how you get in touch with the show this morning, since I have largely failed to do that so far. 844-326-3663, 844-FANFONE. That's how you text the show. We'll read them on the air. That's how you call the show. We'll put you on the air. You can also hit us up on the social media. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, if that's your thing, at The Rob Brown Show. If you want to get to me, that's Instagram, that's Twitter, that's Facebook, that's TikTok, that's all of them. At Lonzo on Word is how you get to the Great One on Twitter if you want to shoot him a message.
And on Facebook, by the way.
And on Facebook. I didn't know. I don't know if I didn't know if your Facebook's like because it's like a halfway, it's like a kind of in kayfabe, kind of not thing.
Yeah, we were required back in the day to put that tagline on there, and I've just never changed it. So
fair enough.
It's not laziness. It's there, whatever. But yeah, it's the same on both of those.
You can hit the Great One at Lonzo on Word if you want to come at us in that direction. I would like to take just a minute and recognize a college football team that is doing something that I think is a spectacular idea. Arizona State University is coached by Kenny Dillingham. Now, Arizona State, of course, made a run last year, carried by the tree trunk thighs of one Cam Skattebo, who I'm a big fan of. I'm actually pretty interested to see what he can do in the league. But Cam Skattebo carried that team all the way to the NCAA college football playoffs last year. And part of the reason he was able to do so is because, and I do believe this is true, said it last year, said it again this year, And this is the reason I have selected Arizona State to win the Big 12 this year. I think there's some competition. No Cam Scatterbo. I think the gap closed a little bit. We'll find out. I think Kenny Dillingham is one of the best coaches in college football. And one of the reasons that I think Kenny Dillingham is one of the best coaches in college football is I think this dude gets it. It, in this case, being one of the things that I think in 2025 is probably a requirement to be a successful head coach. And that is the ability to communicate with the bubble of your school. I am talking about communicate with kids coming out of high school about what your program is, what your culture is, and how they're going to fit into it. I think the ability to communicate to kids on the team about why it is that they should stay or maybe they shouldn't stay. It's the ability to communicate with coaches, but there is always one group of people that I think a lot of coaches understand they need to talk to, but maybe don't, or in a lot of cases, can't. And that's the fans. That's the people who would give you money so that your program can thrive and get to the point that you're showing up in college football playoffs and getting more money so that you can thrive more and show up in more college football playoffs and follow along, more money. I think the ability to communicate with the fans and do so in their language. And you know what I mean? Like every fan base has their language that they speak. It's unique to that culture, to that school. Well, we all know that the Arizona State Sun Devils take great pride in being one of the top party schools in America. It's a thing for them. They love it. And hell yeah, why wouldn't you, man? Like that's a recruiting pitch for a lot of kids, students, and players. You come here, we're going to give you a great education, but you're also going to have the time to party, all right? It's known, and for some kids, that's what they're looking for.
How many of your friends in high school decided to go to the party college?
Well, I was a couple of hours from Tallahassee, Florida, and I know the answer's not zero.
Okay, because I had a bunch of guys, oh, you got to come here. It's like, this is the party school. It's like, dude, why would I go there?
Yeah. Again, it's not for everybody, but I also say that if every school is successful in having its own culture, by definition of the word culture, it's not going to be for everybody, which is why I've also said the most important thing I think a lot of colleges can do is understand what their culture is and lean into that. Brent Key at Georgia Tech during ACC Media Days last week, he said something that I actually meant to get to. I actually think I brought it up very briefly, but he said one of the things that he is most proud of right now at Georgia Tech is, do you know what they've decided to do with their football program? To heavy lean into science and technology helping out football. They're going to the engineers at Georgia Tech and going,
it is a tech school.
It's a tech school.
It kind of makes sense.
He's going to the engineers and the scientists at Georgia Tech, and he's going, help us be a better football team. He said he believes that Georgia Tech has used science and engineering more than any other school in America to make the football team better. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be fun because I'm going to tell you coming up here in a few minutes, the ACC media poll came out, the results last night. Georgia Tech is ranked ahead of Louisville to win the conference this year.
You know what it'll never do? It'll never help them beat this.
Maybe not. The old
You're going to get this.
meow and cow offense. There it is.
There we go.
I'll commit it to memory eventually. Now, why do I bring up this conversation with Kenny Dillingham at the lead? Because yesterday, 2 days ago, Kenny D got in front of a microphone. And he said something that I think is super interesting. He said something that I am fascinated with and I'm going to follow. And he said something that it's not going to click to everybody. You know who it will click for? Fans of a perennial top 5 school known for the party. No, I did it right. Why did it not play? I did it right. I set it up. Let me change
The
it
lead
back.
in was excellent.
I know.
And you can also like cover, but I mean, you could do that.
No, because I said, and it's this, and then it didn't play. Hang on, I'm bringing up my other thing that allows me to play sound.
So right now, I'm trying to help you cover.
No, I know. Listen, I'm a big fan of own it. I'm a big fan of accountability. I thought I had everything set up. Clearly, I screwed the pooch. So let me try that again. Fingers crossed this works from Kenny Dillingham.
Absolutely huge. You know, one thing, I don't know if people know this, but we're in the process of trying to build an indoor facility. That's our big project. We want to get it fundraised here in the next 5 months to get a shovel in the ground here in the next 6 months. So it's here in 2 years from today, which is the goal. We want to move it over by the football field. We want to use that indoor facility for tailgating in the future. So we have an indoor tailgating location for fans to come and make it an awesome tailgate experience, like the 16th hole of the Waste Management Open. We want to create the 16th hole of the Waste Management Open, or as close as we can to it, in our indoor facility by our stadium here. And we just got to fundraise enough money to do it. So it's good for us. It'll be good for our football team. It'll be good for the fans if we can get it done. Permanent structure. That's over by our facility, so we don't have to travel, to be more efficient with our time. And then one that can be used on game days, like I said, for an awesome tailgating experience. That way people don't have to be out there in the scorching heat.
What the hell are you talking about, nerd? He just said that they want to build a $5 million football practice facility indoors, so they've got their spot because it's Arizona, it's very hot. But on game days, he wants to turn that open to the Arizona State Sun Devil fans and allow them to come in and tailgate and do funnels and shotgun, yada, yada, yada.
I thought we were still talking about Georgia Tech, and I was just picturing a bunch of drunked up nerds and wondering what that would be like. That's all.
Arizona State.
That's the not nerds. Okay, my bad.
Opposite of nerds. Opposite of nerds. I love this so much. I love this so much because Arizona State understands who their fans are, understands what their culture is, understands what's going to get those people jacked up. So here's the thing. You want a $5 million indoor practice facility? Something that most schools, power schools, big schools, most schools, and actually a lot of little ones too, are well on their way to getting, and that most coaches that I've listened to, talked to, whatever, have said, kind of a requirement if you want to be a good football team. You need the ability to have a place where, yeah, we can go outside in the heat and the summer sweltering temperatures and like get our conditioning up, but also we need a place we can go inside and control the elements, because if we're going to work on precision and route running and timing and all that, like we need it to be 72 and sunny so we can get that down and then we can transfer it outside of the heat. In order to make that happen, you almost have to have fans willing to give money to the program and say, for the long-term benefit of the football program, here's mucho dinero. How do you do that? What's the best way to do that? Arizona State just figured out their way of doing that. And that is to say, look, Sun Devils fans, we need your money to do this thing that's going to make the football team better. But we want to give back to you for investing in that. So on Saturdays, that indoor practice facility, we're going to turn it into your tailgating spot. We're going to let you come in. Now, I don't know what that looks like. I had a picture in my head of what if, because I've been in Clemson's indoor facility a few times, what if that was next to the stadium? And what if on game day Saturdays, they rolled up the side, it was like a big garage door. I don't know why this is what I pictured. Big garage door. They rolled up the field, and inside the practice field, they had a bunch of big squares painted off in the ground. And you, if you donated to this facility, you got 1 or 4 or 8 or 12 games, whatever, a year that you had a dedicated tailgating spot in the facility. And if I'm Arizona State and they build this thing next to the stadium, which it sounds like he wanted to, you know what I'm doing? You know how a lot of schools do like their walk at like they do the Gamecock walk in Columbia, where the football team goes from the facility and they walk into Willie B, but they allow the fans to like line the runway and they walk and high five and take pictures and all that. I'm doing that right through the middle of that facility. If you donate to build this indoor practice facility that we want and need, and you donate to it, we're going to put your name in a bucket. In every game, we're going to have 50, 75, 100 tailgating spots in this facility. And if you donate, whether it's $5, $50, $500, $5,000, if you donate, your name goes into a lottery. Maybe you do it where it's like every $100 you donate, your name goes in one more time. And every home game, we're going to draw 100 slips off that lottery. And if you get picked, you get a tailgate spot inside the facility. And the team's going to walk through there, and the coaches are going to come out, and the basketball team, the head coach, and they're going to come. Make it a thing. And you heard him describe it as, we want it to be the 16th hole of the Waste Management Open, which is the only individual hole in golf that gets talked about specifically on this show annually. Because it's a freaking party, dude. Because it looks like a blast. So this is what I mean when I say, if you want to be a successful program, and I think Clemson and South Carolina, and I'm not blowing smoke, I mean this. I think Clemson and South Carolina are two of the best at this aspect. You have to understand your school's culture. You have to understand your fans' culture, how they interact, and you've got to all the way buy into that. You got to go all in on that. You've got to make the fans feel like this team really does represent me and us and our community and our school and yada, yada, yada. Because that's how you get buy-in. Here's Kenny Dillingham recognizing, understanding that Arizona State fans are damn proud of being known as one of the best party schools in America. They embrace that identity. So, in order to raise money for the indoor practice facility that they want and need, how does he pitch it to the Sun Devils fans? Hey, if you guys will throw just a little bit of cash, just like $5 million, if you'll throw a little bit of cash at us, we're going to build this facility, which will make us a better football team, but also we are going to make it an absolute unbridled party zone that you will get access to. If I'm a Sun Devils fan and they say we want a facility, I'm like, yeah, okay, cool, good luck. If I'm a Sun Devils fan, they say we want a facility and you can come tailgate at it and party with it with so-and-so and so-and-so, I'm sending $100 just for a chance to make that happen. That's brilliant. That's what I'm talking about. Oregon did something similar. I'm going to tell you about that coming up in the next hour because I promise you, especially you old heads with long hair, you're going to love this. What the hell is he talking about? Come back next hour and find out. Stick around for the next 60 seconds. For the best 60 seconds of your day, Lonzo Sports Flash.
I'm kind of offended. He said old head with long hair, and he pointed at me. The Atlanta Braves dropped their series against the Royals 2-1 with a 10-inning, 1-0 loss yesterday afternoon. Joey Wentz got the start, going 6.2 innings with only 1 hit and 7 strikeouts. Kansas City used 9 pitchers with only 1 throwing more than 1 inning. The Clemson Tigers were the media selection to win the conference after last week's ACC Media Days. 183 ballots were submitted, with Clemson picked first on 167 of them. Miami and SMU were selected second and third, followed by Georgia Tech, Louisville, Duke, FSU, and North Carolina. The MLB trade deadline is today at 4 p.m. Yesterday, Philadelphia acquired reliever Johan Duran from the Twins in return for Eduardo Tate and rookie hurler Mike Abel. The Mets traded 3 minor leaguers for all-star reliever Ryan Helsley and Tyler Rogers from the Giants for 3 developmental players.
proceeds support the veteran families of Heath's Pals. Sign up today at heathspals.org. Sponsored by Benton Roofing. BentonRoofing.com.
That's the sound of James adding long-lasting Gain scent boosters to his laundry this morning. Several hours later, James sniffs the irresistible scent of Gain on his shirt. Gain. Several hours later, James has even caught the attention of his mother-in-law, and she never gives him attention.
Ooh, you smell amazing, James. Oh, thanks, Mom. I love you too.
I never said that.
Add Gain scent boosters to your laundry. Add joy to your day.
Some things can steal your sunshine. I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken.
I'm trying to find, and I don't know if you remember when it was off the top of your head. I know it was last year, but I don't remember when Damian Priest was here. Because I want to post that picture of Aaron Judge next to Damian Priest and then post the picture of us next to Damian Priest to show I'm 6'3" and that dude towered over me, and Aaron Judge towers over that guy.
Yeah, I just saw the video. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. But I don't remember when Priest rolled through here.
I knew he was a large man. I'm not even sure.
Yeah,
Are
no,
you sure
Aaron
it was
Judge
last year? It might have
freaking
been.
enormous. It was last year. I just don't remember when. Was it pre-hurricane? I think it was, right?
Sure.
I wasn't married yet, so it was before
Bailey
September.
was post hurricane.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I remember that. And he was before Bailey, right?
Yeah.
There's old Orange Cassidy. That was awesome. There's ACC Media Days last year, so we're in like June of last year. Was it before that?
I'm telling you, it was further back than you think.
There it is.
What year was it?
It was May of last year.
Was it? Okay. But I knew Judge was big, but after looking
He's
at
a
that, it's like,
monster.
oh my god,
He's a monster. I don't want to necessarily kick on the afterburners just yet because we do still have 3 more hours of the most electric sports talk radio you're going to hear anywhere today. I don't want to burn up all the gas on lap 4 of a 500 miler. But it's kind of difficult not to today because this football offseason, as Lonzo pointed out accurately earlier this week, this football season has both gone by in the blink of an eye and also taken 200 years. I don't know how those two feelings are simultaneous, but they are. It feels like the Super Bowl was 2 centuries ago, and yet also at the same time, 2 days ago. It has been a long offseason. Now, you know I like to say there's no offseason on the Rob Brown Show because when we come out of football, we roll into basketball. As we approach the end of basketball, we're well into baseball. We've got hockey. We've got WNBA. We've got soccer. And we've got UFC and boxing year-round. The Rob Brown Show is in every sports show. But we all know where the old bread and butter get made. It's on the gridiron. It's goal line to goal line, sideline to sideline. This football offseason is officially over, people, because in 12 hours and 58 minutes, 2 football teams are going to line up across from each other in Canton, Ohio. Well, 2 football teams with a lot of dudes who are going to be playing for their lives. And a good chunk of those dudes who will not be on a football team in 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 weeks from now. And while that is just kind of a sad reality of the business. To me, it also makes for some damn good sports watching on a Thursday night. The Chargers of Los Angeles, California, and the Lions of Detroit, Michigan will get it on this evening in the NFL's Hall of Fame game. It is the only NFL preseason game of this week, as it holds a special place of designation on the league calendar. And it is all that you will get to hold you over until exactly 7 days later. That's not really true. It's more like 6 days and 20 hours later when we get next week a full slate of NFL preseason games, 16 of them over the course of 4 days. But it's enough for now, man. It's like walking into the steakhouse. And you know you're going to your favorite steakhouse tonight, so you don't eat anything all day because you want to go in there with an appetite. Because you know that prime rib, that filet mignon, they cook it perfectly, man. They get the real good crispy on the outside. It holds that sear on the outside. It holds all the juices in there. Then they cook it to that perfect medium rare and not a second longer temperature. And you're going to get that big, fat, juicy baked potato with all the fixings, the sour cream, the chives, the little bacon crumbles in it. You're going to get that favorite side of yours, whatever it is. There's no wrong answer. But when you get down to that restaurant and you sit down and you pull out the chair and you sit down and you take the napkin and you open it up and you put it across your lap and the waiter comes out and says, "What would you like, sir?" And you say, "I want that filet mignon. I want that prime rib." And he goes, "Great. How do you want that cooked?" "I'd like it medium rare and not a second longer. And I'd like that big old fat baked potato. And I'd like that side that I love oh so much." And he goes, "Great. What dressing would you like on your house salad?" Most days you'd go, "Who in the hell cares about a house salad? Get me my gosh darn steak and potato." But you also know that you're hungry. You haven't eaten in a minute. And you know that when he comes and he sets that plate, that bowl, whatever you get your salad on, and he takes that very silver fancy dressing container. They don't walk over there and put a squirt bottle down on the table. No, he comes over with that little pewter container. What do they call it?
Pewter's such a good word.
It's pewter. That's the fancy. We're not talking no stainless steel here. We're talking pewter. He comes over with that, I don't remember what it's called. Like a gravy boat, but it's more of a bottle for, you know what I'm talking about. And he pours your favorite dressing over the top. Maybe you're a vinaigrette guy. Maybe you're a balsamic guy. Maybe you're an Italian guy. Maybe you're just classic old Americana. Give me a big old heaping helping of fatty ass ranch dressing. I'm not here to judge. That's my choice. Fire away. And he pours it over that salad, and you're like, it's still, man, it's like I still want that steak. But you take that first bite, man, it's just the best thing. It's a palate holder. It's just a little something to get you put on a tee, get you ready for that main course, for that. It wakens up the taste buds. It gets the taste buds really ready to roll, really ready to fire here in a minute when the main course hits the table. That's tonight. Tonight we get that house salad. And I know it's not what we're waiting for. It's not what we're looking for. It's not the main course. But it's gonna wake you up a little bit. It's gonna get the brain going. It's football season. It's time. Put the ball on the tee, tighten up the boots, snap the chin strap, buckle down the shoulder pads, blow the whistle, kick the ball. Let's watch some football. That's tonight. We made it. That's it. We're here. And all I have to say to that is hell yeah, brother. We did it. We did it. All right. You know where else we've made it? We've made it to the 7 o'clock hour of the show, the opening segment of the 7 o'clock hour of the show. Hey, I know what today is for you. Today's the day where you got to go to work and you've got to pretend for 8 hours or however long you're stuck in the office. You've got to pretend like you give a good gosh darn about anything other than making it tonight. Maybe calling in, getting your favorite chicken wings, Uber Eats to your house. Maybe you're going to fire up the old Blackstone and throw that steak down on it, maybe. Maybe you're trying to drop the LBs and you're just going to have yourself a nice little healthy snack. It doesn't matter what you're going to feast on this evening. You got to pretend like you care about anything other than making it to 8 o'clock tonight and watching a little football with Rob Brown and the great Malonzo and the rest of your fellow Americans. The problem is you do have to go to the office for those 8 hours. And if you got to go to that office for those 8 hours, I know what you're going to do. You're going to distract yourself with everything you can to kill a little bit of time to get you in and out at 5 p.m. so you can go home and get set up for that 8 kick, which means a large portion of those 8 hours are going to be spent talking sports. And if that's the case, my dudes and dudettes, you need this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying,
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
before they take their first bathroom break.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan upstairs.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's gonna be mostly all about 4:30 p.m. today, I imagine. You're gonna look around and you're gonna go, I'm not getting anything else done today. No. I gotta figure out what we're eating tonight, what we're drinking tonight, and who's getting what seat on the couch.
It'll be us somewhere around 11 a.m. possibly.
Yeah, I'd say that's about right. We get done. I make my little social media video. I pop in our advertisements for the day, and I am TF up out of here. I'm heading to the house because there's 100% a siesta in play for 2 reasons. Number 1, your boy's tired. He slept like crap last night. Number 2, every hour that I'm asleep during the day is an hour I don't have to wait for tonight. Yes, I am that excited. Let's jump right in. It's item number 1. Major League Baseball's trade deadline is today at 4 p.m. What a bad day to pick for baseball to have the trade deadline. This is a day you would get a lot of news and notes out of Major League Baseball as teams have just a handful of hours remaining between here and that 4 p.m. deadline to shore up the roster, to make the moves they need to make, either to send some guys away and get some prospects in for the future, or to send some prospects away and get some guys for the now. Some moves are getting made at the last minute. We do know that yesterday, one of the bigger moves that got made, the Diamondbacks have officially traded Eugenio Suarez to the Mariners.
Can you trade managers?
I friggin' wish. Appreciate all you did, Snit. But good Lord, am I over it. Okay, Eugenio Suarez traded from the Diamondbacks to the Mariners. We kind of figured out about a week ago when they started moving some lesser pieces that the Diamondbacks were saying, all right, all the old guys got to go. We're bringing in prospects to build around Corbin Carroll and the rest of these guys. Eugenio Suarez was the big piece. Now, there is still the possibility that Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly, a couple of frontline starters, could be on their way out. We will find out. Teams like the Yankees, Astros, Red Sox, Cubs, Blue Jays, all in the mix to grab another starter, and those 2 cats are at this point on that list. But at the same time, it's kind of like if you get the right return, otherwise keep them. Let them be anchors for the next 1 or 2 years while you develop the next class. We'll find out. Eugenio Suarez headed from Arizona to Seattle. Cincinnati has made a move in a 3-team trade that also involved the Dodgers and the Rays. They get righty Zach Little from the Rays. A lot of prospects circling there, but the Reds get their frontline guy. This is a team that wants to contend in their division. The Astros acquiring infielder Ramon Urias from the Baltimore Orioles. The Orioles obviously sellers as they are having, I think, maybe a more disappointing year from the Braves, but like they're 1-2 at the most. The Cubs have acquired former Atlanta Brave Michael Soroka from the Nationals. The Mets have been a big player in the reliever market. They finished a deal to acquire all-star closer Ryan Helsley from the St. Louis Cardinals. They send Jesus Baez and Nate Dahlman and Frank Elsott over to the Cardinals for him. Johan Duran is on his way from the Twins to the Phillies. That's an all-star pickup for Philadelphia. The Mariners made another move yesterday, got Caleb Ferguson from the Pirates We also know that the Mets got Tyler Rogers from the Giants. The Reds have gotten Ke'Bryan Hayes from the Pittsburgh Pirates in exchange for Taylor Rogers and some prospects. The Bravos did make a move yesterday. They got Tyler Kinley up out of Colorado in exchange for a minor league prospect. Don't get excited, Braves fans. It's like a 3.58 ERA. He's fine. It's just somebody to start games while you tank the rest of the year. Austin Slater, an outfielder, headed to the New York Yankees. And Sir Anthony Dominguez from the Orioles headed to Toronto. That's some of the moves that got made yesterday. We will keep an eye on what else happens the rest of the day, as again, the trade deadline is today at 4 p.m. Let's get to item number 2. The results of the media poll that was taken last week at the ACC Media Days has been dropped. The media poll selected, this may shock exactly and precisely none of you, the Clemson Tigers as runaway favorites to repeat as ACC champions. There were over 180 ballots turned in, including mine. Over 165 of them, actually 167. I don't know why I said over 165, like 167 isn't a shorter thing to say. 167 of the 180 plus ballots did select the Clemson Tigers to repeat as champions. Amongst the other teams who got votes, you want to talk about a split? Clemson got 167 first place votes. Miami got 7. Florida State got 4. SMU and Georgia Tech got 2. Virginia Tech got 1. Clemson led all teams with 3,083 points. Miami's 2,679 was second. SMU was 2,612 in third. Georgia Tech selected 4th by the media ahead of Louisville in 5th. Duke picked 6th ahead of Florida State. 7th, North Carolina 8th, Pitt 9th, NC State 10th, Virginia Tech 11th, Syracuse in 12th. Rounding out the ACC, Boston College, Virginia, Cal, Wake Forest, and Stanford in dead last. There's the results of your ACC media poll that was dropped yesterday. Let's sprint through item number 3. I've kind of been up and down on this all day. I've kind of been circling around on where we go with item number 3, but I think this has got to be the answer, and we are going to talk about this because I don't know if it is true, how trustworthy it is. I will say it is being reported by some reputable sites. Yahoo Sports is reporting this. Front Office Sports, who has been, honestly, really good about reporting on the business side of high-end American sports. Both of them, among some others, put up a report yesterday evening, like late last night. There was a post that went up on Instagram from a cat by the name of Misko, and it's a Serbian last name. I'm going to do my best. Raznatovic. I think I got that correct.
Sounds good.
Misko Raznatovic. That guy is connected to the agent of Nikola Jokic. The post that went up was of a couple of cats sitting on a yacht somewhere in Europe. One of the cats was Maverick Carter. Maverick Carter used to play for the Lakers. Now he's kind of a business guy who is connected to Misko Raznatovic. Oh, did I mention that Raznatovic is the agent of Nikola Jokic? Sorry, should have brought that up. He's not connected to him. That's him. With Maverick Carter and LeBron James. Now, that's not a huge deal. Maverick Carter is kind of a former NBA player turned entrepreneur. This is a big name agent. LeBron James is there.
See, I remember, was it a banana boat or what all those players were on at once? I mean, that was
It's the
considered a
offseason.
big deal. They just, I mean, rich people vacation
yeah.
where rich people vacation.
Yeah, exactly right. Shouldn't be a big deal. It's not a big deal. Oh, except for multiple reports that Carter and LeBron James were out there trying to seek $5 billion because they want to set up an international professional basketball league that would play games around the globe and be direct competition with the NBA. How direct? According to reports, and again, this is the point of the story. The first part, I absolutely believe. I absolutely believe that. The second part is where I'm going to say a little bit of grain of salt, like a little grain of salt, but I'm still interested in hearing more reports and finding out some details. Apparently, the league would do its best to try to lure some of the world's top players with not just big-time salaries, but also equity in the league, direct equity. That is to say, if the league does better, you will all get a revenue share, which is not something the NBA, the MLB, the NFL do. They say you negotiate your salary. Y'all can argue for guaranteed money and blah, 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 but you don't get a portion of the league revenue. They would, which is entice. Remember, that is what enticed so many of the big names on the PGA to jump to the Live Tour.
Is the Live Tour of basketball, or
That
is
is
it,
exactly right.
Or is it the World Globetrotters?
It is not. It is apparently, according to the reports, it is apparently an actual league. Now, whether they would partner up with other already established global leagues or not, unknown. What is being reported right now is that the league would want exclusive rights to players. Unlike the Big Three league that's out there right now for women's basketball, where players like Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark and Breanna Stewart can play in this 3-on-3 league, but they can also play in the WNBA. If this league gets propped up by LeBron James, Maverick Carter, and Nikola Jokic's agent, and if it becomes a thing, they would want exclusive rights to players. That is to say, if Nikola Jokic went, wait a minute, I could play for a pro team that's based in Serbia. I could play half my games in Serbia and travel the rest of the world for the rest of the games, and I get equity in how well the league does. And I'm the most famous player on the planet right now. Yeah, I'm going to jump over. Nikola Jokic would no longer be an NBA player. This is, I am going to say, Zoe, in my opinion, and we'll talk about this more coming up in a minute. This is, if it's true, a bigger threat to the NBA than the Live Tour was to the PGA. It's a bigger threat to the NBA than USFL, USL, FLU, XFL, XFUF, whatever, than any of the spring leagues have ever been to the NFL. It's a bigger threat than the Savannah Bananas are to MLB. This is, in my opinion, if it's true, the biggest threat to any major American professional sports league that has ever existed. We'll talk more about it next because I do think it's a huge deal on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Suited up. I like it. That's a sports saying. Fraying, which is a phrase and a saying combined. Incredible job, Rob.
The boss writes good life.
Be right back, guys. Stay right there for me. We shall return ever so briefly. 844-326-3663. Next segment, stick around, college football fans. This one's a short one, so I'm going to do this very quickly. And we'll talk about the ACC media poll dropping yesterday when we come back in the next segment of the show. But I want to get back very briefly to this LeBron James thing for just a minute. An Instagram post went up that contained LeBron James and Misko Raznatovic. I think I got that right. Who is the agent for Nikola Jokic. It's a picture of LeBron, his business partner, Maverick Carter, and Raznatovic all vacationing together, I believe in Europe. In fact, I know it is. It's in Saint-Tropez, France. All hanging out on I don't know if it's I'm assuming it's a yacht. They're out on the water. It's a boat, but it's big and it's got a lot of space. So I'm going to assume it's a boat. A yacht, sorry. There's a difference. You know it's a yacht when you look at it and you go, damn, that's a yacht. Looks like a yacht. So.
Checks out.
There was a lot of speculation after this Instagram posted on Saturday. And obviously, the initial discussion was, well, if Bron's hanging out with Nikola Jokic's agent, does this mean that Nikola Jokic might leave Denver to go to L.A. to be the big man there and play alongside Luka and Bron? Or the other way around? Could this mean that LeBron, who is, as has been mentioned by many people many times over the past month, not the A star in Los Angeles anymore, could he be going, all right, cool, I'm out, and go to Denver to play with Nikola Jokic? That was the speculation, and it's all well and good. Turns out it might be bigger than either one of those two stories. Reports from Front Office Sports and Yahoo Sports has followed along with this. And let's be clear. This might all be garbage. This might all just be a rumor that's gotten out of control. But Front Office Sports over the last couple of years has really kind of established itself as a pretty credible journalistic output in regards to the business side of sports. Front Office Sports reported that the group is discussing a new international basketball league being spearheaded by Maverick Carter and backed by LeBron James. Bloomberg reported back in January that Carter was advising a group of investors seeking to raise $5 billion for an international league they believe could rival the NBA. Now, that story didn't really grow legs at the time. I do remember bringing it up ever so briefly on the show, but it didn't really grow legs. And it didn't grow legs because for the response from most people was, who the hell is Maverick Carter and why should I care? Well, turns out Maverick Carter is the business partner in a lot of outfits of LeBron James. Even that, a few months ago, did not really register because it's not going to register until we know LeBron's in on it. They're business partners on a lot of projects, but not every project that they're involved in. Now we know LeBron apparently is involved. Per the Financial Times, investors in the league who have already either committed or expressed verbal interest in it are the Singaporean government, a Macau casino operator, and the Saudi Arabian Sovereign Wealth Fund. Now, the Saudi Arabian Sovereign Wealth Fund has been discussed a lot of times over the past few years. Why? Because the Saudi Arabian Sovereign Wealth Fund has invested billions, with a B, into a number of sports over the years. In soccer, they have propped up a Saudi Arabian league that has been sniping some of the best players on planet Earth away from Bundesliga, Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, the biggest soccer leagues on the planet. Cristiano Ronaldo has spent the last couple of years playing in the Saudi Arabian League. Why? Because the Saudi Wealth Fund has invested and given them the money to pay guys like Ronaldo. The Saudi Arabian Sovereign Wealth Fund is the backer of the Live Tour, an outfit that has threatened the PGA to the point that the PGA is now trying to strike some sort of deal / compromise with them to end the competition. The Saudi Arabian Wealth Fund is the reason that the WWE is not just running pay-per-views, premium live events in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. They have put so much money into that company that reportedly, and I don't know if it's been officially confirmed, Zoe, you might know better than I, reportedly, the Royal Rumble, one of the big four, will be either next year or the year after taking place in Saudi Arabia. That's mucho dinero.
I think it's next year.
So the amount of money that they have put on the table has backed the Live Tour to a point that they've threatened the PGA Tour.
It is next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have backed the PGA into a corner to a point that the PGA has had to negotiate. They have backed the Saudi Arabian Soccer League into a spot where they're getting some of the biggest names on planet Earth in the footballing world. And they have put so much money into professional wrestling that one of WWE's biggest prime events is going to Saudi Arabia. And instead of taking place on a Saturday night, where most Americans are going to watch it, in Saudi Arabia, the Royal Rumble is going to be at noon on a Saturday. That's wild. That's how much money they put in. So if they're in, money is no longer an issue. $5 billion to the Saudi Arabian Sovereign Wealth Fund is nothing. And the controversial political take, I don't think it's controversial, or at least it shouldn't be. But the controversial political take is Saudi Arabia is investing billions upon billions of dollars into sports to kind of whitewash what's happening in that country, which is gross and not okay. And to some degree, it has worked. So, LeBron is apparently, reportedly, in on this. And the concept of the league would be that, to start, there would be 6 men's teams and 6 women's teams that would tour across 8 host cities around the world. Where it gets interesting is that this league would reportedly not just pay basketball players salaries that are comparable to the NBA, but it would give them a benefit that the NBA does not. That is equity in the new league. The equity portion meaning that if you sign up and if you play, as this league grows financially, you will get a portion of its increased revenue year after year, which means that if they get a bunch of guys who are like second-tier NBA guys, like good players, maybe not great, maybe not top-line players, and the league just makes a little bit of money, those guys all get a little bit of money. But if the biggest names in basketball were to move over, if Nikola Jokic played in this league, I mean, just think about the European players. If Luka Doncic moved over and played in this league, think about some of the biggest American players, because they'll likely have at least one team in the United States. What if LeBron played in this league, even at 41, 42, 43 years old? Going to sell 1 million tickets. Going to get international fame. If that league was to start showing revenue splits that increase year after year, so would the amount of bonus money those players would get. Which means that if I'm a big-time NBA player and I go, I'm going to get a comparable salary to the NBA, plus I get X percent, 1%, 2% of increased revenue year after year out of this league. And I know that if I can talk Anthony Edwards into joining the league, an international star, Steph Curry, I'm not saying these guys would. I'm just using them as hypotheticals. If I can talk those guys into joining the league, what happens? That league becomes more noticeable. It gets more money. The revenue goes up. I get more money. Now, all of a sudden, not only are the players busting it to make as much money for the league as they can because they get a portion, but they start recruiting other NBA players to come over because they would get more money. This, to me, and I mean this, the reason a lot of PGA Tour golfers left the PGA to go to Live is not because it was like a better brand of golf or they just really want to chug some beers on 18. The reason they went over was huge salaries, guaranteed money, and revenue split of increased profits. We already know that works for a lot of pro athletes because it's already worked on the Live Tour. If this was to pop up and this was to work internationally, I mean it when I say this. This would be the biggest threat to any major American professional sports league that has ever existed. It is a bigger threat than the UFL, XFL, USFL has ever been to the NFL. It is a bigger threat than any secondary league or Savannah Bananas Fun League has ever been to Major League Baseball. It is a bigger threat than the Live Tour is to the PGA Tour, and you know how big of a threat they have been the last couple of years. This would be the biggest threat to any American professional outfit ever, and it could be LeBron James. Now, we do not know for sure that LeBron is involved as an investor, as a player, as a backer, or maybe he really was just on vacation with Maverick Carter, and Maverick didn't tell him, hey, my other business partner for this is going to be there. That's entirely a possibility. I'm not committing LeBron to this yet. But if LeBron is involved, this is a big threat to the NBA. All right, we'll talk more about that later in the week. When we come back, let's talk about the ACC media poll results that dropped yesterday. I'm Rob, he's Zoe, you are you, and listening to The Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, I'm going to hit the restroom. Y'all stay right there. We shall return ever so briefly. Show back on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Rob Brown, the Greg Alonzo, and you. The ACC at its media days last week asked myself and everybody else that was there to fill out their preseason ballot, in which we were asked to select our ACC Players of the Year, well, not Players of the Year, but, all ACC media team. And the one thing that I think most of you care about the most, our ACC projected order of finish. I went this way. I went Clemson 1, SMU 2, Miami 3, Louisville 4, Georgia Tech 5. That's my top 5, and honestly, probably all most of you care about. Here is the way the media at large filled it out. Now, there were over 180 ballots filled out. I believe there were 184 ballots that were submitted. Clemson, far and away, the pick to win the ACC. The reason I tell you the overall number is to keep in mind that, like with any survey, you are obviously going to have people who cast dumb votes. And they're going to cast dumb votes for a bunch of reasons. Some of them are going to cast dumb votes so that they can get attention after it's over. They can go, well, I voted Virginia Tech first. And they can get a bunch of attention from people who rage into their rage bait. You are going to have some people that cover certain teams. And whether they have arrived at the conclusion because they fully bought into their team's propaganda extravaganza and go, no, seriously, I really do think Virginia Tech can win the ACC. I really do think that Florida State, coming off a 2-10 year, can win this conference. What they do get to do is to go back home after media days and to tell their audience, hey, guys, I voted for us because I love your team, and I'm here to defend your team. Now, I've told you before, my entire philosophy is, was, has been, will remain since I got here and well before. I shall neither kiss the ass of your team nor kick them in it. I am going to give you every day my honest opinion and take on your team. I'm never gonna your bootay in order to hold your attention. If having an honest, neutral, middle-of-the-road opinion on your football team isn't what you're looking for, if you're just looking for somebody to tell you how super-duper awesome, amazing your team is all the time, I'm not your guy, and this ain't your station. If you're a Clemson guy, there's another station in town that does that. If you're a South Carolina fan, there's a station in Columbia that you can tune into, I'm sure, some way on the internet and hear that. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to give you an honest, neutral, middle-of-the-road opinion on your team. My honest opinion, neutral, middle-of-the-road thought is Clemson is clearly the best team in the ACC. And the fact that on 184 ballots, 167 of them selected Clemson, I think shows you the disparity. Miami got 7 first. Seven. That is the team that a huge swath of America believes is a legitimate college football playoff team this year. That is the team that a relatively large swath of my media colleagues and comrades believe is a national championship contender this year. They got 7 out of 184 first place votes. Florida State got 4, SMU and Georgia Tech got 2, Virginia Tech got 1. Those are the outliers in our survey, right? Maybe not Miami. Honestly, I heard a lot of people even outside of the Tallahassee stations and pods that were there, I did hear a lot of people at ACC Media Days who had the opinion, whether they were being honest or seeking attention, I don't know, who really said they believe Florida State will bounce back and be a good team this year.
All right. I looked this up because I was curious. For 6 years in a row, Clemson was picked to win the ACC. There's only been 1 year lately when they weren't picked, and that was last year because Florida State was picked. So, Clemson.
Oops.
Clemson, what? That was me nearly dying.
No. I'm saying that Florida State was picked last year and they went 2 and 10.
So Clemson being picked, and I'm not poo-pooing it. I think Clemson's going to win the ACC. I've been saying forever Clemson is the ACC. It's not out of the ordinary to pick Clemson to win the ACC, is what I'm saying.
No, of course it's not. And I think this year is different, though. And I think this year is different for a couple of reasons. Number one, the last couple of years, we have entered the football season with this same national media asking a lot of questions about the football program. And I think they've been fair questions. There were a few that were not, and I will call those out when I think they're not fair questions, but a lot of them have been. The questions about Dabo Swinney's philosophical approach to college football, I think have been fair. Very little portal usage. We kind of made the joke for a long time going into last year that there were 3 teams that did not have a transfer in the offseason. 2 of them were military academies, and the other was Clemson. We've questioned the philosophy. We have questioned his, up until recently, his pushback on NIL and players getting paid, et cetera, et cetera. And those questions to me were very fair. And for the record, and this is one of the narrative reasons I'm very interested in Clemson this year, not just because again, I try to be honest and open with you guys. If Clemson goes to the playoffs, and if Clemson wins in the playoffs, and if Clemson goes to and wins a national championship, Robbie B and the Great Alonzo, we're gonna get a little tick up in the wallet. Because we're gonna get the opportunity to do stuff. If Clemson goes to a national championship, there is a chance, if nothing else, there's a chance that Rob and Zoe could end up with press passes to go to a national championship game. I have not been to a college football national championship game in a very long time. I would love to go to one. If Clemson or South Carolina get into it this year, I'm going. If I got to fly myself to wherever we got to go, I'm going. And through the playoffs, we would have the opportunity maybe to do some remotes, maybe to do some live events, yada, yada, yada. Great, I'm all in. But one of the big narratives, aside from Rob wants some money.
By the way, the 2026 College Football Playoff National Championship game will be held in Hard Rock Stadium in Miami.
Hell yeah, and I get to go to South Beach? Oh, you're damn right. You're damn right. Listen, Rob Brown's a married man. He's out of that part of the game. South Beach is still a dope place to go hang out. Okay? So
I don't know what you mean.
I mean, it's a frat boy's dream.
Because you said a dope place. It's like,
dope, bro.
Is it full of drugs?
I mean, yes,
okay.
It's South Beach, Miami, but also it's dope the way the kids use it. It's cool, man. It's hip, bro. It's rockin', dude. Whatever phrase you want to use, that's South Beach. It's great. So,
thank you for not using Riz or
well, that's not what those words mean.
Yeah, no, I know. But,
okay.
You could have tried to work those.
I could have. I did not. It's a great place to hang out. So blah blah blah. I'm in. But I'm interested in Clemson because, and I mean this, especially those of you that have said, "Oh, I don't like where college football is going." Dabo Swinney has a chance to do something special for you this year, and that something is to prove that an old school college football mentality with just a sprinkle of the new school across the top can work. If Clemson competes this year for a natty, if they win a natty this year, Dabo gets to turn around and metaphorically, because he never do it literally, flip the double bird to the haters. Cup of haters, cup of birds for a couple haters. If he wants to. He could maybe roll back a little bit of the runaway train that is the new era of college football. He could say, look, the philosophy of get guys who buy into the culture and want to be here, use the portal exceptionally sparingly, and make sure your guys are taken care of and love being a Tiger. That works. And maybe some college football coaches go, I'm going to buy into that a little bit. I'm going to start adopting the Dabo philosophy to some way. Maybe that helps. I don't know. That's part of the narrative. Part of the narrative is Cade Klubnik. This is a dude who 3 years ago, some of you Clemson fans were calling and texting this very radio program and going, this guy stinks. Get him off the field. And now he's got what? The second shortest odds to win the Heisman Trophy, and
He's come a long way since being nothing but a handoff machine.
exactly the point. Exactly the point. Now, all of the sudden, Cade Klubnik's looked at as a Heisman Trophy contender. Now, all of a sudden, he's looked at as a potential first overall NFL draft pick next year. That's where this guy is now. You think I don't want to follow that story? Of course I want to follow that story. I'm very interested in that. The story about the wide receiver room. We had Antonio Williams on the show last week. Great interview. Loved it. We'll run it back at some point as we approach the regular season in just 30 days from today is the start of the big week. The story is Dabo figured out the wide receiver room. He's got a unit. He's got some dudes that are ready to roll to bring back the old wide receiver U moniker that Clemson fans wanted to claim for a couple of years now. This year is different because this year, when I was over there in Charlotte, North Carolina, I didn't hear a ton of questions about Clemson. Quite the opposite. I heard a bunch of statements about Clemson. I didn't hear a bunch of conversation about, oh, they don't have this, they don't have that, they need more of this, they need less of that, Dabo this, Dabo that. What I heard was, Dabo's got a squad, boys. Cade's a dude, dudes. Those wide receivers are men, man. I heard a lot of statements, and I heard very few questions. I'm not saying there were none. I'm saying I heard more statements than questions for the first time in the last couple of years. Last couple of years, a lot of questions. Fine, fair, and they've been fair. This year, very few questions, a lot of statements, a lot of proclamations, not a lot of questions. And I think that's kind of indicative by this poll. By this ACC media poll, that Clemson ran away. It wasn't like, oh, you're 100 more. No. 167 people out of the 184 that voted picked Clemson number one. The second team, a team that is considered by the nation to be a playoff contender and to be a championship contender, Miami, 7 first-place votes out of 184. That is insane. That's where this team is. So ordinarily, and I did this with SEC Media Days, my take is, take this poll with a grain of salt. It's a lot of dudes sitting in a room together for 3 or 4 days, talking about football, getting opinions, getting thoughts, listening to coaches and players hype themselves, the propaganda extravaganza. Take the poll with a grain of salt, because it's a lot of people having knee-jerk reactions to the last 2, 3, 4 days they've been there. But when you have 184 ballots, 167 say you're the favorite, 7 say the second best team is in the mix, let me make it very clear, Clemson. You are a runaway favorite. The magnifying glass is on you. It's pointed square. Every little detail of your team is going to be picked apart with a fine-tooth comb this season, which means that if you don't get it right, the blowback from that is going to be heavier than it's been the last few years. If you do get it right, right back up there into that Georgia-Alabama level of the conversation. Pressure's on, in my opinion. Pressure's on Lonzo. It doesn't matter. He never cracks. He never breaks. He every time nails the sports flash.
I will take your pressure and prove you right. The Atlanta Braves dropped their series against the Royals 2-1 with a 10-inning, 1-0 loss yesterday afternoon. Joey Wentz got the start going 6.2 innings with only 1 hit and 7 strikeouts. Kansas City used 9 pitchers with only 1 throwing more than 1 inning. Clemson Tigers were the media selection to win the conference after last week's ACC Media Days. 183 ballots were submitted. Clemson picked first on 167 of them. Miami and SMU were selected second and third, followed by Georgia Tech, Louisville, Duke, FSU, and North Carolina. The MLB trade deadline is today at 4 p.m. Yesterday, Philadelphia acquired reliever Johan Duran from the Twins in return for Eduardo Tate and rookie hurler Mick Abel. The Mets traded 3 minor leaguers for all-star reliever Ryan Helsley and Tyler Rogers from the Giants for 3 developmental players. Hour number 3 coming up.
trouble. Can you dig it? Pal.
Buddy! Welcome back. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob Brown, the Great Alonzo, and you. The 8 o'clock hour is upon us, people. We have a lot that we have been talking about, but I want you included on the radio show. Here's how you make that happen before I come to the live stream comments, before I come to the text line comments, and should you wish to be on the show, call in before I come to our phone calls. They always go first. If you call, you will get on the air. First and foremost, let me tell you how to do that. The phone number to both call and text is 844-326-3663. The Hub City Spartanburger text line, 844-326-3663. That is the same number that you will call to get on the radio program this AM. You can tweet me or Facebook me or YouTube me or Instagram me or TikTok me. You can do anything you want to me at The Rob Brown Show. At The Rob Brown Show, because I am a branding and marketing genius. You can Instagram or tweet or Facebook Lonzo at Lonzo One Word. Go find him, subscribe to him, and you can get to everybody up in here at The Fan Upstate if you'd like to get at us in that direction.
Yes, he still has his MySpace, because we all do, because we didn't go through and actually go, I'm going to close this down.
There's an old adage that is really meant to make you think about how life works sometimes. There's an old adage of as a parent, there is a day where you pick up your child for the last time, but you don't know what time that is. And you will get years down the road and you realize that time has passed.
You don't mean pick up from school. You mean like pick up
physically pick up your child.
Okay.
There is some point where as a parent, you pick up your child and you're not thinking about it, but that just becomes the last time that's ever happened. I kind of feel like that's MySpace. Like there was a last time that we logged into MySpace. Those of us that are old enough to have had a MySpace. There was or Angel Fire, if you really want to take it to back in the day. There was a last time that we logged into MySpace and then logged out of MySpace and did not realize that was the last time we were ever going to log into MySpace. Mine is probably out there somewhere, and I'm relatively sure if I took the time to go find it, it would just be filled with nothing but pure, unbridled Rob Brown High School cringe. I guarantee it. I guarantee you there's some longing post with songs from some terrible, cheesy 90s song where I was lamenting the fact that my first high school crush, the head cheerleader, picked the handsome rich dude on the basketball team to go to prom with instead of me. I guarantee you that's out there. I hope it never surfaces.
Yeah, I just looked up Rob Brown on MySpace and they wanted me to sign up. So I'm
Exactly.
sure it's there somewhere, though.
I could keep it at 100. I have zero idea what my login credentials for MySpace
Yeah, what
are.
name did you use?
I have zero idea.
It was probably some, thing that you thought was really cool. If it was
Too
high school.
hot for you 69XX. Who the hell knows?
That sounds pretty accurate.
Yeah, who the hell knows?
I'm not typing that in, though.
Probably for the best. Probably for the best. Okay, so let's. Where the hell was I going before we got a MySpace reference there? I had a thing I was getting
It's
to.
all your fault, Mark.
Yeah, Mark.
With a C?
God, Mark.
And not that one, as far as we know.
Oh, text line. Texts and live stream comments. That's where I was going. I was going to you, listeners of The Rob Brown Show, Armada members of The Rob Brown Show. 844-326-3663. That's the number to get in touch with the program. Text or call. Let's get to some stuff. Texter, Hurricane Jeff. Hurricane Jeff text the show.
Daggum Hurricane Jeff.
Says, quote, if I was a betting man, I would probably put some coin on both Miami and Florida State with more confidence on Miami to win the ACC. I think Clemson is good. I just believe that they're being overhyped. I think the returning offensive lineman at Miami may have, and Carson Beck is probably going to be one of the top performing quarterbacks in the country, likely a Heisman candidate, and I do believe the defense is going to be much improved as well, and I think that is the sticking point for the Hurricanes from past years. Miami and Clemson in the ACC championship with Miami coming out on top. That's my hot take. First off, Jeff, I don't really think it's super hot of a take. I don't think that's like a white hot take. I think there's a lot of people. I would say this. If that poll was done nationally and not just with people that are covering specific teams from the conference, I think if that team was done or if that poll was done nationally, the gap between Clemson and Miami would be a lot closer. I do think that there are more questions about Miami than there are about Clemson. I think it is fair to have questions about Carson Beck. Now, Carson Beck leaves Georgia with a career record of 24-3. That's pretty solid for Georgia out of the SEC. But I have asked the question, and Hurricane Jeff, if you would care to answer it, have at it. If Carson Beck is really that guy, and for the record, there were a lot of people outside of folks covering Miami at ACC Media Days who are absolutely convinced that Carson Beck is that guy. But if Carson Beck is that guy, my question is, would the Georgia Bulldogs, who ain't hurting for NIL dollars, could they not come up with 5 mil? Or, and somebody said this to me the other day, and I think it's a fair response, because I have asked the question a lot of times. If Carson Beck truly is a national championship caliber quarterback, could Georgia not have come up with $5 million and say, look, we know you want to move down there because your girlfriend is hot, blonde, and famous. And South Beach is a wonderful place to be. But Athens is pretty dope too. And we can up it by $1 million. But the response I got, and I think it was a fair one, was, somebody's got to cap the market. Somebody's got to put the cap on the market. Somebody's got to say it's not worth going above that. Even for a guy who is a Heisman contender. $5 million in NIL. Because even though NIL incoming money is technically limitless, you can have as many NIL deals as you have people willing to pay them. The reality is it's not limitless. There is a maximum amount of NIL dollars that people are willing to put into your school. And if you steer $5 million of that to your quarterback instead of $4 million, that is $1 million that you don't have to shore up other positions on your program. Positions that you might be able to get 5-star guys on a $250,000 NIL contract, or 4-star guys on a $100,000 NIL contract. So somebody's got to cap the market. And I had last week somebody say to me, that doesn't feel like Georgia didn't believe Carson Beck was a national championship caliber quarterback. That feels like maybe Georgia was going, we've lost some dudes the last couple of years. And we gotta stock the cabinet back up. So we kind of need that $1 million to go to other places. And we're capped at $4 million. We're not willing to do that. So the market cap for quarterbacks, which this offseason, it capped at $4 million for a year or two. That's what Carson Beck got. So maybe that's it. Maybe it's a combination of market cap and Kirby Smart, when they were behind closed doors, if they were, debating if they wanted to steer $5 million of NIL money to Carson Beck. Maybe Kirby Smart sat in a room full of dudes whose job that is, and he went, guys, I know Carson Beck's good. I know he's 24-3. I know he led us to an SEC championship game last year, and I know that had he been healthy, maybe we win the Natty last year. But Gunnar Stockton is the real deal. I see this kid. He can play. He's the dude. He's the real guy. Honest conversation. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. The point here is, I think it is fair, respectfully, Hurricane Jeff, to say there are questions about Carson Beck. I also think it is fair of you to say those aren't good questions. The dude's going to be a dude. I think that's very fair. Joey texts the show. He said, Rob, let's test that non-biased, honest, middle-of-the-road opinion. Give me the lowdown on the Dallas Cowboys. LOL. Here's the lowdown on the Dallas Cowboys in a quick response to a text format. The response is this. I think the Dallas Cowboys are a good football team. I think as rosters go, they're probably, to me, in the upper second tier of on-paper rosters. I think the Dallas Cowboys have the weapons that they need, honestly, to win the NFC East. I do. I think they've got the defense that can remove Saquon Barkley, put it all on Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts would take a step back if he was asked to be the star and not a star next to Saquon Barkley. I think you've got all the talent to create a sophomore slump for Jayden Daniels, and you all know how I feel about him. And also the Giants exist. I think you're good enough to get there. What I also think is, and I mean this, it's not a hot take, I put the failure on Jerry Jones. I really do. Because, not just because the moves are questionable, but because of the, I believe, mentality he instills in the football team by the way that he manages. I played you the clip earlier this week of Micah Parsons. Reporter straight up asked him to his face, hey man, where are you at mentally with this extension thing? Because Jerry Jones has said, hard time paying him because he could get hurt. And then he said a handful of days later, well, he is out here making $20 million guaranteed to watch practice. Effectively saying, without saying, and I'm putting words in Jerry's mouth just so we're clear, but effectively saying, maybe shut up and quit complaining, best defensive football player on our team. I got to think that the anti-Howie Roseman, who has made it very clear in a clip that we played earlier this week, that his mentality is, if I think a dude deserves to get paid, I'm going to pay him as quickly and as much as I can because that makes those guys want to be here, want to stay here. That's how they've kept that defense together as long as they've kept it together. By rewarding guys that have rewarded them for rewarding them. You got the anti-Jerry. And if you're a Cowboy and you know that if you go out there, stones to the wall, and give everything you got, and you earn and play the best year of your career, Jerry might go, that's cool, though, but, you might get hurt next year, so we're not going to extend you. At some point, workers, employees, and I know because I've been here before many times, at some point, you go, I'm never going to get rewarded for hard work. I'm never going to get a raise or a promotion. I'm never going to get this or that. So I'm going to show up and I'm going to do the bare minimum.
I think you just got duped into talking about the Cowboys at the same time that the Cowboys was being talked about on TV.
Dude, the Cowboys are being talked about on TV for 17 out of every 60 minutes. And I'm not talking on average. I'm talking out of literally every hour. It's fair. So there you go. I hope that was a fair, neutral, middle-of-the-road response there, Joey. Texter says, quote, Cade Klubnik still stinks. People just like blowing smoke. He'll be a bust like Trevor. All right, couple. I'll respond to this as if it is a good faith text. Number one.
It's okay if that person actually feels that way.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I'm going to address it as if they do. Because I do know we do have some troll listeners. And I also know we have some listeners who are very honest and have opinion. I'll respond to it as if it is real because it is 100% acceptable to feel that way. Now, here's a couple of thoughts. That text goes on. Trevor was 1,000 times better than Cade. He never got a Heisman, and he has been average at best in the NFL despite being a high draft pick. The hype is uncalled for, end quote.
This is where Rob Brown makes excuses for Trevor and talks about, coaching and everything around him and doesn't actually put blame on Trevor himself.
If Lonzo was co-hosting and executive producing a radio show, and I walked in here while he was...
I'm just Rob's producer.
And if Lonzo was co-hosting and executive producing a radio show, and I walked in here as he was doing so and started punching him in the face, and the show went off the rails, And the boss called him down and said, hey, Lonzo, your show sucked today and it's all your fault. Lonzo would go, whoa, wait a minute. I was being actively punched in the face while it was happening. And he went, no, buddy, you're overhyped and you choked today.
By the way, if the boss was, Rob was punching, okay, if it was Fat Boy's big old huge fist hitting you in the face, I got it. But it's just Rob hitting you in the face.
Hey, man.
What does Rob know about? Rob's never been hit in the face himself.
No, he hasn't.
I mean, what would he know about punching someone in the face? I know Roy Jones Jr. taught you. I don't know how he taught you without you actually punching someone in the face.
You don't know for a fact that if I didn't punch a guy, I wouldn't turn him into a rock'em sock'em robot. We don't know. Maybe we'll find out one day. Hopefully we don't.
Now you're saying my head's like a rock'em sock'em.
No, what I'm saying is,
I mean, that's hurtful.
I took some lessons from the GOAT. You don't know because I've never hit anybody. I might hit a dude and end a fight immediately. One shot, one KO. We don't know.
But you did exactly what I said. You took up for Trevor Lawrence.
What I did? Yes, because are working conditions not a thing? Do you think that any radio station you walk into, no matter what, you're going to put out the same quality content?
By the way, Trevor Lawrence doing pretty well. Got a nice house, got a nice wife, got a nice life.
Absolutely.
So he could be mediocre for the rest of his career, and that's okay. I don't know. If you'd have to be a very much diehard Clemson fan to think he was going to go and be the best in the league. He's not the worst in the league, but he's definitely not the best.
Right now, he's not. You're absolutely right.
And if you put him on a better team, I think he's basically what he is now.
I do not. That's where we disagree. Here's what I'll say. I do not think he
still has amazing hair, too.
He does have amazing hair. It is unfair of me, and I haven't done this. I'm just setting it up as a point of conversation. It is unfair to me to say, oh, that guy's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and he just hasn't had an opportunity to prove it. It is also unfair of you to say he's a bust, he's washed. The answer is neither of us knows because he's been in a dumpster fire. And this year, and I do believe this to be true, this year is to me the first year where he genuinely has stability. I will also say, if we get to the end of this year and he stinks, then I will come in here, as I do because accountability matters to me. I will come in here and go, I was wrong about Trevor Lawrence. But I think, because the texter just said, how long has Urban been gone from Jacksonville? How much longer does that get to be an excuse? Yes, Urban is gone for 1 year. Well, 1.5 years.
Dude,
but
come
also,
on. It's been longer than that.
But also, let's point out.
This is third coach. Is second coach since Urban.
Let's also point out, who was coach number 2?
Who is the coach in Jacksonville now? It's Duval guy, right?
Duval.
I don't remember
Liam
his
Cohen.
name. Liam Cohen.
Liam Cohen.
Okay.
Now,
before that was what? Peterson?
Was Doug Peterson.
Yeah.
A man who
was there for multiple years, I believe.
A man who got fired from Philly, left, and what happened? They immediately went to the Super Bowl when he left. Doug Peterson left. They immediately went to a Super Bowl.
Didn't they go to the Super Bowl when he was there too, though?
Yes, they did. Yeah. But that was the year they won it with what's-his-face backing up the QB that spot. I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I'm just saying, just like players, sometimes coaches don't work out with certain franchises. We know that. We've seen it happen. Bill Belichick, right? So, with that being said, I think the stability in Jacksonville has been, it is the same. You know what this is, Lonzo? This is you with Justin Fields. You are exactly the same with Justin Fields as I am with Trevor Lawrence.
By the way, Urban Meyer coached 2021.
God, it's been that long.
Yes, it has.
So he went 22 and 23 with, or 21, no, 22, 23, and 24 with instability, in my opinion.
No.
Do you disagree that my thoughts on Trevor Lawrence are the exact same as yours with Justin Fields? Do you disagree?
I do disagree because there was more hype, I think, for Trevor Lawrence than there was for Justin Fields.
I didn't ask who had more hype. I'm asking
because historically Ohio State quarterbacks have not done well in the NFL.
As far as the reason that they have been labeled bust, or that they have been labeled bust, I feel about TL the way you feel about Justin Fields. For the same reasons. Chicago was a mess. Pittsburgh was a mess. Now he's in a spot where he's got stability. Jacksonville has been a mess the whole time.
He had stability under Peterson. The team.
I completely disagree with you.
So Doug Peterson was not a stable coach.
Why did he get fired from Jacksonville or from Philadelphia?
The same reason why a lot of people get fired, because he didn't win enough games.
He was winning games. He got fired from Philadelphia because the
I
locker
thought
room
you said
started to fall
Jacksonville, my
apart
bad.
underneath him. The locker room fell apart underneath him in Jacksonville as well before he got any traction. That's why he got fired. Instability.
Took 3 years for them to figure that out.
Yes,
Okay.
it's Jacksonville, for the love of God.
All right, Jacksonville's never going to be a winner. So, I mean, whether Trevor Lawrence is there or not, they're cursed because they have the Rob Brown curse on them.
For the record, the Jags are the only thing I do not hate about the butthole of America, Jacksonville, Florida.
Don't nobody believe you.
I'm telling you the truth. I've been to a lot of Jags games. I've had fun at Jags games when I lived there. I'm telling you, that place is the butthole of America. I actually like the Jags. You said something. Don't put this on me. You said something. All right, you guys have sent a lot more texts. I'm going to respond to all of them. Keep them coming, 844-326-3663. We'll do a text segment. Whatever you text in during this break, I'll talk about it in the next segment. Touch us textually.
Wait, you're going to read all texts? You don't do that.
I know, I've been accused. Touch us textually at 844-326-3663. You text this break, I read it in the next segment. Back after this on The Rob Brown Show and The Fan Upstate. All right, guys, I got to record a clip. Y'all stay right there. We'll be right back. Please. And
It's
thank
obvious
you.
what I got to do.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. We are doing here a textual contact segment. You text us at 844-326-3663. We are reading and responding to your text in this segment.
Going to get some textual healing? Or is that what you're going to provide?
I mean, I got to tell you, I about once a week get accused of ignoring the text line, ignoring the live stream, live chat, which you can jump in as well. I'm fixing that right now. It is indeed, from me to you, Armada, a little textual healing. Here we go. All right. Let's
this
keep
becomes
rolling.
a thing. You know what I'm getting for the theme, obviously.
Of course. And I think it should become a thing. Michael in Simpsonville, Texas show said 46 and would love to log back into MySpace one more time, LOL. Michael, there's a part of me that wants to and a part of me that doesn't. You know how every now and then you'll be driving down the road and you'll pass like a real bad car accident and you'll see a bunch of cops and firefighters and EMS all standing around and like clearly something bad has happened. And there's a part of you that's like, I do not want to look and see what that is. And then there's a part in the back of your brain that is unsilenceable that goes, look. It's that for me. Because I know on one hand,
Well, you want to slow down and make sure it's not someone you know.
they got this. I can't help if it is. If that's Jimmy, my little buddy, there ain't nothing I can do about it. Like, don't look, because you might see something that will never leave your brain. On the other hand, there's that caveman part of your brain that's like, dude, look, because you might see something you've never got to see and may never see again. Look, that's my MySpace page. Because I know the firsthand embarrassment will probably drive me into a mild state of depression. On the other hand, maybe it brings up a little nostalgia. I never know. Maybe I'm going to see a dead body, or maybe I'm going to see something that makes me go, bless my heart. Look how innocent I was.
Those are definitely two extremes.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Texter said maybe Sid the Sloth just wanted to move to South Beach for the litness and couldn't be bought. LOL. Honestly, aside from calling him Sid the Sloth, which is pretty messed up, talking about Carson Beck, kind of messed up. Also, and I will say this, dude had my favorite pair of shoes of any player at ACC Media Days. He had like black custom AF1s, but they had like punk spikes all over them. I was like, I couldn't pull those off, but I also don't have $4 million a year.
I can't remember. I think that's the one, the guy my daughter called it Handsome Squidward. Have you seen the pictures of Handsome Squidward?
Yeah, that's probably that's probably exactly who that is. I don't know. I mean, yes, I acknowledge, Texter, that is absolutely a possibility would happen. Maybe Georgia did go, hey, $5 million a year, and he goes, hey, you know what? I'll take $1 million less, but I live on South Beach because it is lit with a capital L. Texter said, to the texter about Cade, we have established previous years don't affect this year. So what in the hell does Trevor have to do with Cade? What's happened with Trevor has zero effect on Cade. And Trevor is much more... this is a different text. I'll come to that one next.
I disagree with that because the players that came before in Deshaun and Trevor Lawrence affect a lot of the quarterbacks going forward because of expectations, because of what they did. That's been heaped on whoever is next. So he does affect him in that way.
I absolutely agree with that. If you go to a place that has had a string of very good quarterbacks dating back for a number of years, you kind of are expected to be next in line. Honestly, I think that's a lot of what happened to DJ Uiagalelei. Remember, we played that video clip leading up to DJ's first year at QB1 of Dabo and him and who I think his brother and Big Dave flying in a private jet, and he pointed down at Death Valley, and he's like, that's where you're going to be throwing touchdowns this year. The pressure got heaped. And remember, he came right after Trevor Lawrence and all those other dudes. I think the pressure was heaped on DJ, and I don't think he ever recovered from it. I also don't think he was that good. I think he was probably a little overhyped, but I think the pressure was on. At least Cade's had the break of DJ Uiagalelei between him and Trevor Lawrence. But I do think, there it is, been a minute. I do think the point, Texter, that the first texter was making was more when I said Cade Klubnik is a narrative because Heisman Trophy favorite after y'all 2 years ago we're saying run this bum out of town. Now he's a front runner for the Heisman and a potential first-round overall draft pick. I think the texter was saying there, much like Trevor was hyped as a first-round draft pick and then went to the NFL and has been very mediocre since. Cade's in that same boat, which I don't know if that's fair or not. We won't know until A, the end of this year for the Jags, and B, Cade gets to the NFL and shows it. Texter said, Lawrence is much more talented. His problem is his emotions. I actually do agree with that. I do think that Trevor Lawrence is a guy that gets caught up in his emotions. I think when he fails on the football field, I do not think he has, as the legendary Ted Lasso has said, the memory of a goldfish. The ability, I threw a pick. I got to put it behind me. The most important play is always the next play. I think those things stick and weigh on him. And I think the more of it that sticks and weighs on him, the more he holds out. I think it gets to a point where he does not play at his height because he gets scared to make more mistakes. And as a quarterback, if you are scared to make a mistake, you will never reach whatever your potential roof is. You'll never get there. And I absolutely agree. I think that is part of a problem. That is something that there are two people that can help with that. A head coach and a sports therapist / psychologist. I believe that. Texter said, Rob, did you... Oh, God, I'm afraid. Okay. A texter has sent a text that is a tongue twister of alliteration, and I'm going to give it a shot.
You got this.
I believe in myself. Rob, did you know fast footballers flick 5 flying footballs and silly swimmers splash swiftly in the sea while tall tennis teams toss tiny tennis balls?
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
Texter, come at me, bro. Come at me, dog. I got this. Texter said, Rob, I am having a hard time buying into the South Carolina hype. In the past, every time South Carolina comes off a great year, the next year they pooped the bed. Do you see that happening this year?
That's not entirely true. Maybe in the recent past, but there were times where they were pretty good for several years in a row.
I'll tell you what. That is from Dewey. Dewey, I will respond to that in the next segment. We're going to talk a little college football. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to push the audio blitz to 9 o'clock for 2 reasons. Number one, I promised some textual healing in the last segment and this segment. I got to that. You're welcome. If you want to keep texting, 844-326-3663, I'll keep rolling through them. I do have a few more stories that I want to get to and time to get there, and we will. But I'm going to push the audio blitz to 9. And then I had a deep dive research project on the Atlanta Braves yesterday. And it is not going to be complaining about Braves baseball. In fact, quite the opposite. It's hilarious. And you're going to love it. I got that coming up later. I got at 9:20. I didn't say I was doing it at 9:20. I didn't say I was doing it at 9:20.
Listen. I've decided I'm not going to try to embarrass you or anything. I'm just going to do the thing until the thing's canceled.
Listen.
But I was trying to help you out there.
I didn't forget.
In your creative teasing.
I didn't forget.
So that you would remember, especially with such a big thing coming up this weekend.
By the way, speaking of big things, next Thursday, the illustrious Lulu Kesson makes a return to the show.
Cannot wait. Just in time for college football season and Gamecock reports.
Yes, indeed. So we got Lulu Kesson coming back next Thursday. Today. When we come back, I'll address Dewey's text. I got a bunch more texts from you guys. I'll respond to those. 844-326-3663. Send your text in now. I'll hit them in the next segment. 9 o'clock audio blitz. 9:20, fight, clap with the great one, Lonzo. 9:40, your text calls and whatever else we haven't gotten to. And I got to tell you, I kind of want to go back to the radioactive wasps thing for just a minute. We'll see where we go on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate, yo.
You are so happy with yourself right now.
I'm always happy with myself.
Yes, Steven, you're absolutely right. Because he forgot that he's supposed to be angry. For some reason, I don't know why. Probably my fault, because, everyone's mad at me right now. So
Who's mad at you?
I just said everyone. I mean, don't say you're not, because I'll fix that. Just so I can be right. Or maybe I've developed a Rodney Dangerfield mentality. No respect, you know. I hate that I think of clips and then I forget them. and I was like, as soon as I get to work, I'm going to record that. I'm going to do that. And I get to work, and it's like, what was I going to record? Oh, yeah. Maybe I should start doing that speak to your phone audio recording thing. There's probably an app, and I don't know what it's called. So, ooh, can you text yourself speech to text?
You can. Actually, one of the things that I have been doing the last couple of weeks, normally during the course of the day, when I'm not actively show prepping for the next day, if I get a push alert or a text alert or whatever, then I'm like, oh, this is for the show tomorrow, I open that and email that to myself.
Well, I do that on X. I'm constantly Xing myself
100%.
Stuff for Saturday.
If I have a thought that's like not connected to a website, I just hear something and I'm like, oh, this is a thought, this is a topic, whatever. If that's the case, then what I will do is I have pinned to the top of my text app, pinned to the top is a text to me. And I will go to my text line, or I'll go to my text to myself, and I will type it in, and I will text it to myself, and then I do not close that text notification on my phone, so that when I come in the next morning at 4:30 a.m., when I put my phone on the charger and it lights up, the very top thing is a text from me that has all of the things that I had thoughts about.
I do that with X. I do that with Messenger. I didn't even think about doing it on text. By the way, way to go, Brandon. I'm wondering, what did you sing though? Did you sing "Meet Me Halfway" across the sky, or did you sing "Danger Zone"? What's another Kenny? "I'm All Right"? Did you sing "I'm All Right"? Don't nobody worry about me. I'm trying to think of Kenny Loggins songs. "I'm Free."
Greenville County Animal Care is the only shelter in Greenville County that accepts animals regardless of their condition, behavior, or circumstances. Help us help them.
Stephen, only if you're throwing up the DX sign when you do it. I think tweeting myself sounds dirtier than Xing myself, but they both have that kind of sound to them. I'm sure I just named a bunch of Kenny Loggins songs that Rob didn't know what they were, although his band may have played them. I don't know. He really wasn't listening to me.
No, it was. I think the only one I don't know is the first one you said.
What, "Meet Me Halfway" across the sky?
Unless I just know it.
Meet
but I
me
don't.
halfway
No,
across the sky.
There was no Danger Zone, but Sunday shoes were involved.
All right. Oh, Footloose. Okay. "Meet Me Halfway" was the theme for Over the Top, the Sylvester Stallone arm wrestling movie. I bet you've heard the song. I'm not going to play it now, but I bet you've heard it before.
Classes start August 13th. Apply now and save with no application fee. Learn more at umgc.edu.
I bet Rob could rock some Kenny Loggins hair, though. I mean,
for sure.
Yeah, you've already got that. Probably the same color. So, yeah, actually, you already got the Kenny Loggins beard going, too, to a degree. So, I mean, you take the glasses off, let the hair go. Then you could cut loose, Footloose.
I'm not starting till it happens, just so you're aware. And for those of you on the stream, sucks to be you, but we're listening to Sexual Healing. But I've changed it. Textual healing, textual healing. Nailed it! It's the Textual Healing segment. The segment where those of you who complain weekly that I don't read the text line enough, I fix that for you. Today's your day. Maybe this is just the thing we do now. It's Thursday's Textual Healing. We're going to take the text that you've saved up all week, that I'm a big, fat, nasty boy and don't read all week long, and I'll read them here and respond to them here. So let's roll on with that. Primarily because we got a few more texts. One that said, Rob, the butthole of America is in Clemson. How do you find it? Head north until you smell it, and then you will step in it. It's a classic joke. It's never going to go away. It's always going to be funny. Corn chip. What a combination of sounds that was. That just penetrated my ear holes during our Textual Healing segment.
Yeah, I should have. I was trying to do that thing, and
we know. We knew.
Okay,
we know.
Corn
Chip text the show said, Rob, it's not ignoring. They must just be bad takes. Don't waste your breath on them. I will keep it a buck. I say I'm going to read every text. That's kind of a lie. Some of you send some real bad text.
Yeah, and there's also Lonzo is awesome. I love Lonzo.
Yeah,
Lonzo is
ignore
great.
every one of those.
And those never make it to air.
Every one of them. Dan the Superfan Man is back. Wondered where old P1 Dan the Superfan Man went. He said, and I quote, no wonder my texts weren't going through. I was texting the old text line. I've still been here, brother. My text test revealed the truth. 'Twas that I texted too many times to the wrong text line. I'm glad I tried this time. Signed, Dan the Superfan Man. Buddy, glad you're back, P1. Glad to have you back in the fold with the Armada, buddy. Glad you're back. All right, now, the reason that we have carried over this Textual Healing segment is
I'm trying to figure out, does one of us have to sing that part? Or what
I will.
What
I ain't scared.
Yeah.
I ain't scared.
You know.
Is because Dewey texted the show, and he said, Rob, quote, I'm having a hard time buying into the South Carolina hype. In the past, every time South Carolina comes off a great year, the next year, they poop the bed. Do you see that happening this year? Beamer, first year they overachieved. Second year they pooped the bed. Last year overachieved. Same thing happened in the Muschamp era. Okay, so I have a couple of things. Number one, I sincerely believe, and I do not mean for this to sound insulting, and I think even though it might, I also suspect the people who might be insulted by it are going to agree with the take. Outside of the diehards in and around Columbia, South Carolina, I don't know anyone who thought Will Muschamp was a good hire. Zero. I know zero people. Outside of the diehards, but where I was broadcasting from at the time down in the Sunshine State of Florida, which Destin's kind of like Greenville. It's a big retirement / Air Force military community. It's a melting pot of a little bit of anybody and everybody. The Drive Time show I was hosting at the time that y'all hired Will Muschamp, no one said that's a good hire. None of my co-hosts, none of my colleagues, none of the folks I interviewed down there, none of my texters, callers, listeners, nobody thought it was a good hire but y'all. So it was unsurprising that that went poorly. Beamer, for the record, because again, I believe in accountability of people who have the great responsibility of broadcasting in this industry. I thought Beamer was a questionable hire at best. We've talked about this. I don't need to go down it all over again. Dewey, I have a different vibe this year. I have a different vibe this year than I've had about years gone by. The first and foremost is, and we have mentioned this a gazillion times, as has everybody else in the game. Quarterback is a very important position. A good quarterback and a great quarterback can do things for your good team. Then there is a highest tier of quarterbacks to which only the most elite of the most elite make it to that tier. Tim Tebow was in that tier. Cameron Newton was in that tier. Robert Griffin III was in that tier. Only the best of the best make it to that tier. I am not 100% convinced that LaNorris Sellers is in that tier, but I am more convinced that LaNorris Sellers is in that tier than any other quarterback entering this football season, of which there are some very good ones. But I am convinced that LaNorris Sellers is closer to that elite program-changing quarterback tier than any other quarterback in college football this year. I believe that he is closer to that tier than Cade Klubnik is, than Dante Moore is, than Arch Manning is, than Garrett Nussmeier is, then, name your other quarterback here. And if he does reach that tier, he's the type of dude that takes your program and does something with them that you didn't expect. Jameis Winston in 2013. The Florida State Seminoles of 2013 did not win a national championship because of Jimbo Fisher. They just didn't. They won it because Jameis Winston was a special breed of cat who was in that tier. He was bottom of that tier, but in that tier. But Jameis Winston was special. Jameis Winston won the Florida State 2013 title, not Jimbo Fisher. LaNorris Sellers, I'm not saying he's in that tier. I'm saying I feel like he's the closest of any quarterback to that tier. And if he does elevate into that tier this year, that is what elevates you to the next level. But it's not just LaNorris Sellers. It's also Mike Shula, who I have put into what I refer to as the Peter Principle group of coaches. If you've never heard of the Peter Principle Nuts and Bolts edition, because I use it a lot on the show, is this. Every coach at some point gets elevated to one position higher than their competency level. Every coach gets elevated to one position higher than what they are the best at. Cliff Kingsbury is my Peter Principle example of choice. Cliff Kingsbury was not a very good head coach when he was with the Arizona Cardinals. Anybody who watched that team knows that that is true. When Cliff Kingsbury left Arizona and he went to go become the offensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders, he got paired with Jayden Daniels. Jayden Daniels came in and immediately didn't just become Rookie of the Year. I've got Jayden Daniels right now as probably the 5th or 6th best quarterback in the National Football League. And a big part of that is because Cliff Kingsbury's competency level is the offensive coordinator spot. And he's back in that role. That's Mike Shula. Mike Shula got a lot of crap because of his short time as the HC at the University of Alabama. Mike Shula, I think, is a good offensive coordinator. And more importantly, I think it's like Gus Malzahn, kind of the same thing. Great offensive coordinator. Kenneth is a head coach, great offensive coordinator. That's part of the reason I think Florida State maybe due for a bounce back year. I think Mike Shula is exactly the type of coach you want to pair with a quarterback like LaNorris Sellers to get the most out of him, because it is as much as it is about the raw talent of the QB, it is also about making sure that the offense is designed around him to give him the opportunity to use that talent. I think Mike Shula is that. I don't think Dow Loggins ever was. Dow Loggins was a tight end coach from Arkansas who just jumped to the top. Now, maybe he's going to be a successful head coach at Appy State. We'll find out. But I don't think he was the right guy for that job last year. I think Mike Shula might be. Might be. Let me say that on the record loudly. I think he might be. So you combine those two things together. You combine the fact that I have to assume the first home game at Willie B is going to be chaos. It's going to be electric. And if they can grab, I think, 5 straight wins right out of the gate, go 5-0, because remember, of the 7 final games of the season, 6 of them are against playoff candidates. 6 of them. Oklahoma, Ole Miss, LSU, Alabama, Clemson down the stretch. I have said already that I fully believe that the South Carolina Gamecocks may have the most difficult second half of the schedule in America. But if Lenoris hits that level, and if Shula runs the offense in a way that he can hit that level, I don't think they have to go 7-0 down the stretch. I think they could go 5-2 and make, honestly, they could go 7-2 and make the SEC championship game. Because Georgia, Texas, I think there might be 2 losses on the table for both of those teams. Alabama, I think there might be 2 losses on the table for Alabama, even though I do believe they're pointed in the right direction overall. I think we could very well have 2 10-2 teams playing for the SEC championship game. And if that is the case, I think 10-2 as an SEC team gets you in the playoffs. I think there's a chance 9-3 might get you into the playoffs. But I think 10-2 does. I am not saying South Carolina is going 10-2. And T-Swizzle, I'm coming to your comments in a second. Hang tight. I'm not saying I think South Carolina's going 10-2. I think if Lenoris does reach that tier, if Mike Shula, as I think he is the right guy at OC, and if they go 5-0 out of the gate, if here is where I will say this is what I believe. If South Carolina does not start 5-0, Mizzou, Kentucky, etc., Virginia Tech, if South Carolina does not start 5-0, they will not make the playoffs. That is my line in the sand. That is my exclamation point. If you do not start 5-0, you will not go to the playoffs. If you do start 5-0, it's on the table. You'll still have to go probably 5-2 down the murderer's road that is your second half, but 5-2 will get you in. If you have 1 loss in the first 5, you'll have to go 6-1 down the stretch. Good luck. If you go 3-2 in the first 5, you will have to go 7-0 down the stretch, and that's just not happening. Not because you're not a good team. That's just a brutal schedule. So that's where I'm at. Here's why I say all that. T-Swizzle has a couple of texts about Lenoris. He says he's not going to be as good as last year. He lost a ton. He can't carry them the entire season. Dude can't even throw a slant. State had way better players around him than State had way better players around him than who does Carolina have around him? Nothing. Stop the blasphemy, y'all wildin'. End quote.
And yet he still beat Clemson last year.
Here is my genuine response very quickly to T-Swizzle because we got to go to the break. Who does Carolina have around him? The only question that I say that I am comfortable saying that's a fair question for certain about is the running back position.
Okay. Yeah.
Running game. Because that's a great question. And I've said this a few times, if Lenoris Sellers is that guy and if Mike Shula is that guy and they don't make it, I think the run game may be very well to blame. We still don't know if Ashawn's going to get the waiver and be allowed to play. I don't know how we don't know. We got less than a month till football. What the hell are we waiting for? I'm sure Shane's steaming right now. We don't know what the run game's going to be like. Offensive line, big question marks. A lot of people saying they got better. I don't know. There are questions. I'm not disagreeing, T-Swizzle. I'm saying there are some players who are so good they can transcend just by being them and take pressure off of those spots. I think Lenoris might be one of those guys. Did I hit that might hard enough? I don't know. We'll find out. Audio Blitz when we come back, then Fight Club, then a blitz through all the stories we haven't gotten to coming up in the next hour. Before we get to any of that, ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, take off your pants, and enjoy this Sports Flash.
Ew. The Atlanta Braves dropped their series against the Royals 2-1 with a 10-inning loss by 1-0 yesterday afternoon. Joey Wentz got the start going 6.2 innings with only 1 hit and 7 strikeouts. Kansas City used 9 pitchers with only 1 throwing more than 1 inning. Clemson Tigers, heard of them, were the media selection to win the conference after last week's ACC Media Days. 183 ballots were submitted with Clemson picked first on 167 of them. Miami and SMU were selected second and third, followed by Georgia Tech, Louisville, Duke, FSU, and North Carolina. The MLB trade deadline is today at 4 p.m. Yesterday, Philadelphia acquired reliever Johan Doran from the Twins in return for Eduardo Tate and rookie hurler Mike Abel. The Mets traded 3 minor leaguers for all-star reliever Ryan Helsley and Tyler Rogers from the Giants for 3 developmental players. Hour number 4 coming up next. Yay.
aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-922-1284. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-922-1284. 800-922-1284. 800-922-1284.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages.
When I get that feeling, I need textual healing. Textual healing. I had Danger Zone in my head all day. I'm going to have this in my head all day today.
So I was looking through to Kenny Loggins songs, trying to find that song for you, and I found there's a song, and I don't remember this, with Kenny Loggins and Steve Perry singing on the same song.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but
I'm listening.
that's a Journey sounding guitar.
This thing.
I have heard this song,
I don't know that I have.
but I've only heard it on Classic Rock 101. I
Yeah.
don't remember hearing it when it was out.
I have a very important question. At the opening, I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it was a 17. Did you fart?
Yeah, that was me.
Was it actually?
Oh, yeah, that was me.
Was that just a complete accident?
You're out there for like 6 hours. Like, you're eating some different food over there. Some stuff's gonna happen. And like,
Did you know that it was that loud?
Okay, that is not that song.
Time to cut this while the intro rolls, but we'll find out.
Yo. I let me see the tail, man.
No, because I screwed up the sound. It's all right. I'll come back to it.
And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for ya.
Show time. That's the best I could come up with. I don't know if I guess we're allowed to say that phrase, right? Like that's not
What, Showtime?
no. The 2 words that we got for you.
Okay.
I think we'd be allowed to say that.
I mean, if you want to.
Yeah.
But who are you saying it to?
I mean, nobody in specific. You know,
Okay,
nobody,
yeah.
nobody in particular.
Yeah, I mean, did someone flash in your head that you were just going to say
Oh, I'm
that
sure
to?
if you give me like 6 to 8 seconds, I could come up with somebody I want to say it to. But I'm not thinking about them right now. I'm thinking about one thing and one thing alone. I am thinking about the fact that, dear friends, we are now inside of a half of a day remaining. We are now inside of 11 hours remaining between us and tonight's kickoff of the NFL Hall of Fame game. Y'all, we've been saying it for 2 weeks now. It's football season. We had SEC Media Days in Atlanta, Georgia. We had ACC Media Days in Charlotte, North Carolina. And we said, oh, it's football season, it's football season, it's football season. And it was true, and we meant it. But now I mean it more than I meant it then. It's football season. Preseason. But it counts. The word season's in preseason. It's football season. Hall of Fame game tonight. We're going to talk a little bit of football later on in the hour. But I do want to get to the audio blitz. Got a couple of sound bites that I've been carrying around for you for a hot minute. Let's get into them. I want to start with this one. Lonzo and I have for a very long time tried to tell you, the smartest dudes on a football field, everybody says quarterback. It's not unfair. But the smartest dudes on the football field are offensive linemen. Always have been, always will be. They have to deal with more moving and changing and adapting parts than a quarterback does, honestly. Because defenses are not just constantly shifting up till the snap in front of them, changing their blocking assignment every time they do. But on top of that, they also change when everything starts. You got to adapt to what they're doing in the play. And on top of that, you kind of got to know physics too. Because you've got to know how your body position versus his body position. How do I get leverage? How do I get my center of gravity? You got to know a lot. Which is why Cowboys offensive lineman Tyler Booker has just come up with the best phrase I have ever heard to describe an offensive lineman.
I mean, that's just the epitome of offensive line. You're doing algebra in a fist fight. You know what I mean?
Algebra in a fist fight. Now, the rest of the clip wasn't really much. He was talking about the fact that, yeah, it's a challenge to move up to the NFL level and play. But that's all I cared about. He called playing offensive line, quote, doing algebra in a fist fight. And that's the best description I've ever heard, and that's exactly what I'm going to call playing offensive line from now on. That's spectacular.
I absolutely love that.
Like a lot. Hey, the Atlanta Braves played the Minnesota Twins 3 times. Scratch that, not the Minnesota Twins. The Atlanta Braves played the Kansas City Royals 3 times this week.
Yeah, that's a team. You don't get that team wrong.
It doesn't matter. Neither one of those teams matters.
Well, I don't. Again, down the hall, they really.
Yeah, go ask him what he thinks about the Royals.
Okay.
I'm guaranteed
Right.
he's going to say, yeah, we don't matter.
So I'm not going down there.
Should have. They were on their way up. Now they're just kind of flatlined. So are the Braves. Which is why, of the 3-game series, the single most entertaining and interesting thing that happened was from Mikhail Garcia and to B.
And Strider continues to have difficulty getting his fastball down. And Michael just got stung by something. Looks like a bee went into his shirt. Look at that. Is that what it was?
It's like again. Look at that thing hovering above his ear.
Is that a drone?
I don't know, but look at that. Oh.
And then he made the mistake of opening his shirt. And
Take
Buck
that.
said, thank you very much.
Yeah, take that ball. Oh, he's going for 2.
And he's going to be in there.
Mikhail Garcia got stung by a bee. And they know that because, and what is maybe the single most dramatic television experience of the 2025 Major League Baseball season thus far. It wasn't a big dong. It wasn't a great breaking ball. It wasn't Paul Skeens throwing a $192. No. It just so happened that whatever network was carrying that game had a high frame slow motion camera pointed at the plate. And they were able to capture this bee, I think it was a bee, that had to be about yay big, hovering next to his helmet.
It's more like a hornet.
I thought it had to be, but I looked at it. And it's kind of like it's round. It's not like long like a hornet. It was round. So and there are
like a carpenter bee.
I don't know.
Big old fat carpenter.
Big old, it wasn't like a big ball, but like it was definitely fatter than a hornet or a wasp. Like hornet and wasp identifiable because they're long.
Radioactive, was it?
I hope not. Maybe I hope it is, because if so, if Mikhail Garcia starts launching balls into different area codes, like maybe it was. You can see in slow motion enough that you can see the wings on this thing flapping, hovering by his helmet, and then it just kind of drops down and like lands on him. Well, he goes to as we would all do, just kind of like jerk react. Well, as he does, he kind of hits his shirt, opens it up, exposes skin, and the bee, pow, pops him. And then what does Mikhail Garcia do? Does he go, damn, that hurt, I'm out? No. All he does is take the next heater from Spencer Strider, rip it up center field, run to first, find out that the Braves left fielder was asleep at the wheel, challenges his arm, takes off to second, and turns it into a double for no reason.
Does it make you feel bad about when you get stung and you're down for the rest of the day?
I got to tell you, and I'm going to knock on every piece of wood in a 10-mile
Getting
radius.
Stung sucks.
I have not gotten stung by a bee in a very long time, like a long time, and I'm really happy.
I'd rather be stung by a bee than a wasp. I don't. Yeah.
Unless that wasp is radioactive, then I'll take the chance. We'll see. Terrell Hatton is a golfer. We've talked about Terrell because Terrell's really interesting. On one hand, he's this mild-mannered, very casual-speaking British guy. right? He's always kind of low-key. But also, Tyrrell Hatton is a dude that after a bad round of golf 2 weeks ago was asked, like, how do you recover? And his response was, I go back to my house, I drink 3 pints of Guinness, and I go to bed because tomorrow's a new day. And I thought, yeah, me too. That's great. What an attitude. The guy's like, why 3 pints of Guinness? And he goes, well, 4 gives me a hangover and 2 doesn't do anything. Great answer. Well, Tyrrell Hatton was playing an event on the DP World Tour. And as he was in the backswing.
The Dan Patrick World Tour?
No, it's just called the DP. I wish Dan Patrick had his own tour. It'd be awesome. He's on the DP World Tour. He's about to hit an iron shot, and a loud noise disrupted the backswing. And he, understandably, like most golfers, would get very agitated. Who just slammed a door when I'm in the backswing? Well, we immediately got our answer.
Let's go to Tyrrell Hatton. Distracted by something. We're told it's a toilet door shutting.
That's my fiance. Trying to put me off. Was. You should be ashamed.
Oh, fantastic. She follows him every step of the way, every tournament, rain or shine. Fantastic. Might as well have a laugh at her expense.
Tyrrell Hatton was in the iron for the backswing, or in the backswing for the iron shot, and a porta potty door slammed on the course, and it disrupted him. He pulled out of the backswing, looked over, and you could see the expression, not very happy. Now, again, Tyrrell Hatton's not a guy that's going to, like, yell, hey, bleep you, buddy. He just kind of looks over like, who the hell slammed a porta potty door? Turned out it was his fiance. And because he looked at the camera and said, that's my fiance, the camera immediately swivels to the porta potties just in time to see Tyrrell Hatton's fiance coming out of the porta potty. And when she realized what just happened, you can see the face of, oh my God, my fiance just put me on international television after using the pooper.
That's not good. By the way, I just got recruited by somebody via text. I can make up to $12,000 a month, working as little as 60 minutes a day.
Yeah, that's a promotion.
Does that sound like a scam
that
to you? I don't know.
No, dude, go for it.
Look how long it is.
Oh, God. I've never sent a text that long in my life.
I have never been recruited via text before. That's right. I feel important today.
Let's. I want to take you for a 2-clip adventure here for a second, and I want to start with this one for 2 reasons. One, it's pertinent to the next clip. It's something that happened, speaking of golf, on the golf tour a couple of weeks ago. Number 2, because it's one of the funniest things that's ever happened on golf television or television in general.
So far above the green, downwind you can get onto this green, but Scheffler.
What are you laughing about?
There's so much to say about that shot. The sound off the club face. Oh, it's extraordinary.
Let's stick to the golf. Just a little bit of wind from behind. Just help to ease down the green.
Okay, so Scotty Scheffler hits an iron shot on 17, and somebody, 'twas a mystery, ripped gas on an otherwise relatively quiet golf course. Now, there's 2 things about that clip. Number 1, it proves that even in the stodgy world of golf in the UK, dudes think farts are funny. We just inevitably and forever will. They're funny. The second thing is the greatest golf joke of ever time was told. The greatest golf joke of all time was told by the Scottish bro who said that Scotty Scheffler's shot had, and I quote, just a little wind from behind. That works on every level because 1, he was hitting a shot with a tailwind, meaning the golf ball had literal wind, literally helping it from behind. Number 2, it's a fart joke because he farted. So he had wind from his behind. And you can combine wind and behind in any combination, and it's a great joke.
This is like breaking down a magic trick. It's not necessary.
It's
man.
spectacular.
I think we all get it.
Spectacular. But here's the thing. There were a lot of folks out there who refused to acknowledge or believe that it was a trumpet blast from Scotty Scheffler himself. Well, there's other mics and blah, blah, blah. The Pardon My Take podcast on the Barstool Network had Scotty Scheffler on their show, and we figured it out.
I have a very important question for you. At the Open, I'm trying to remember what hole it was. I think it was the 17th. Did you fart?
Oh. Yeah, that was me.
Was it?
Actually?
Oh, yeah, that was me.
That's awesome.
Was that just a complete accident?
No. I mean, you're out there for like 6 hours. Like, you're eating some different food over there. Some stuff's gonna happen. Like,
Did you know that it was that loud?
no, I mean, you never know when the boom mic's there. You never know what they're gonna pick up.
So there you go. Mystery solved. It was indeed Scotty Scheffler who got caught ripping one on a live mic and completely unapologetic about it. You're out there for 6 hours. You're eating different food in a different country. Quote, things happen, end quote.
All right, and the one giggler in there, was that by accident? I mean, what a question. So he's asking him, did he intentionally do that?
I don't think it's intentional so much as like he just
No,
swung.
he just asked him if he intentionally did that.
No.
That was the question from the giggler. I don't know the guy's name, but
giggler.
He was giggling a lot. I'm guessing he's a large guy.
I think he's laughing.
Hey, do you do that on purpose?
I think he's laughing for two reasons. Number one, I'm tired of pretending like farts aren't funny. They are. And the older I get and the more they become just a thing that happens even when I want them to.
The sound is funny. The after effects are not.
I'm going to say that's
don't
per user.
I was going to say, don't ever complain coming out of that room over there then if that's funny.
I think it's per user. I'm also going to say, I'm not going to say all of us, but all of us have at one point, as the old expression goes, trusted a fart and got it wrong. Can you imagine if Scotty trusted that and got it wrong in that spot? Scotty Scheffler has withdrawn from the Open Championship. Why? Reason? Undetermined, but he changed pants.
I think my comment earlier in that room was it smells like old people gas in here.
You get it.
Yeah.
You get it.
It's.
All right, one more from the same pod, only because we like Ron Rivera a lot, right? Big fans. He also, this past week,
I enjoyed interviewing Ron Rivera.
I actually got to talk to Ron at the ACC Media Days very briefly.
That's when I got the old tap under the table, like take over the interview by someone whose name has a C in it.
Ron Rivera is a wonderful person to have a conversation with. However you feel about him as a head coach, I can attest Ron Rivera is a great dude. He was also on the Pardon My Take podcast earlier this week. Ron Rivera is working his way towards becoming a dude.
Sundays are a lot different for you. Yes. Do you like Sundays? Like getting to sit down on your couch, watch every single game?
So the first Sunday ever, I watched like 9 hours of football.
Yeah. It's awesome, isn't it?
It sucked. Because
it's too much?
No, it really was. It was way too much.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
You can't handle all the football.
No, you couldn't.
We're football guys.
I looked at my wife after the afternoon games, before the evening game, and I said, I'll be right back. She goes, where are you going? I said, for a walk. I said, definitely. I've been inside for 8 hours watching football. I said, I've eaten so much junk food. I sit there and I've drank, beer. I mean, I'm not, that's not, but I did all those things and I just felt like a lump on a log.
Yeah.
So I went out and I just walked for about 2.5, 3 miles, came back and watched the last game of the night.
You're not in game shape like us.
You're not ready for it.
I wasn't. It wore me out.
We do that every single Sunday.
Oh, my God.
We just sit there for 12 hours and watch every single game.
There's no way. I was wore out. I really was.
See? Wife? I told you I'm a high-caliber athlete. Ron Rivera is in incredible shape. I talked to him at Media Days, and I'm like, dude, this guy hadn't missed a day. This dude still got it. But he said, I ain't got it in me to sit down on a Sunday from game one to Sunday Night Football. I had to go out and take a walk because it's the wings and the beer and the this and the that. This is why I say, if you are an every game, every day football dude, I need you to know, or gal, dude's an all-inclusive term, all right? I'm talking to all the P1s of the Armada out there. If you are an every game, every day football dude or chick, please know that you are in an elite class of performer. That is top notch. It's not something that everybody can do. Hell, it's not something that just anybody can do. It takes training, discipline, dedication, and commitment. And if you've gotten yourself to the point that you can be there on Sunday for the 1 o'clock kick and the 4:30 kick and the Sunday night football, and then you circle it back around and watch Monday night football, and then you circle it back around to watch Thursday night football, and then sometimes Friday and Saturday night football, and you're every game every day, I need you to know you are in an elite tier of person. Not even the great riverboat gambler Ron is capable of hanging with us.
There's a level beyond that, though. The guy who watches an equal amount of college football the day before and then does it the next day with the NFL.
That dude is the Ichiro Suzuki of football watchers. There's Hall of Fame, and then there's Ichiro. That's where you are. Some of us are lucky enough to get paid to do that. At least I get to tell my wife, sorry, honey, it's my job. And she can't argue because it's true. But if that's you, I want you to know you are in the most elite group of human beings maybe on planet Earth. It's like Army Rangers, Navy SEALs, U.S. Marines, guy who watches every game all weekend long. That's the 4 most badass groups of people in America. Dewey texted the show and said, my farts smell like eggs and are messy. Dewey, you should stop listening and call your doctor. Right now. That's a problem, dude. Texter said, Ron Rivera is a great guy. I saw him walking between Wofford campus and the hospital during training camp 1 year ago. 1 year. He was wearing a large straw hat, just walking by himself. I stopped to get a selfie. He stopped and was glad to take the pic. He asked my name and just shot the breeze with me for about 5 minutes. A true good guy with great character. I've never heard a story to the contrary. I love that about Riverboat Ron. It's Thursday. You know what that means. When we come back, Fight Club! With the great Alonzo, we check in on all things MMA, boxing, and pro wrestling. Next on The Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
It's the first tease this segment's gotten in months, and I'm
okay, weeks. Let's not say months. That's a little dramatic.
I am teary-eyed. I'm gonna leave the room to pull myself together.
Crap. Yeah. Okay, it's right there. Ooh. That's a little piece. I'd have been in trouble. Tell you what, guys, let me step away for just a minute. I got to knock something out. Y'all don't go nowhere.
welcome into the Fight Club, where I realized, I don't have any wrestlers in my intro there. I don't
You
know
really
why.
don't, actually.
Yeah, and I don't know what happened there and why I didn't do that, but there's only so much room for, I've got my favorite MMA guy in there. We got Rob's favorite MMA guy in there, and Conor McGregor. We've got,
slander.
The greatest of all time.
I won't stand for it.
Floats like a butterfly, stings like a radioactive bee. All right. SummerSlam is this weekend, WWE SummerSlam. I'm not going to have time for really anything else other than that. And I will tell you that I think it's a mistake making it 2 days. I think it diminishes WrestleMania and the fact that it's 2 days. But I get why they're doing it. I absolutely get why they're doing it.
I do too. You've stacked the card for what it's worth. If you like the matches, you've stacked the card. But I absolutely agree with you. I think honestly, I don't even think WrestleMania should be a 2-night occasion, but that should be the only 2-night occasion.
All right. Well, be that as it may, SummerSlam for the first time ever, 2 nights starting at 6 p.m. on Saturday. All right, let's get to the ton of matches. The first match we're going to talk about is for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. It is Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy, the current champions, Wyatt Six, versus Montez and Dawkins Street Profits for Axiom. DIY, Motor City Machine Guns in a six-packs TLC match. This scares me because all those guys are crazy anyway. And it's one thing to watch a three-way TLC like we did back in the day, but this is 6 people. This is 6. It's a lot of them.
It's a lot.
It's a whole lot. I'm going to go with the Wyatts. Either the Wyatts retain or the Street Profits get it back.
I keep finding myself leaning Wyatt Six, but I also, from what I understand, they want a push of Andrade and Rey Fenix. Because since both of those guys made their way back over to WWE, and this is just dirt sheet takes, they haven't been super thrilled about what's happened, which makes sense. I don't think they know a lot about what to do with them. I also think Andrade needs somebody to work with as the mouthpiece, and I think Rey Fenix can do that.
They're not in that match.
I thought they were.
They're not according to the site that I got it from.
Oh, I was under the impression that they were.
Which was Netflix, actually, is where I got the card from.
I thought it was a six-way tag, isn't it? And in fairness, I have not watched.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is, and for some reason they didn't put them on here.
Andrade and Rey Fenix are Team 6. And I am, because I do think there is some need. I don't know which belts are changing hands, but I get the impression we might have a few. I think this might be one. Plus, they are, I think, going to start working the AAA integration into this a little bit more. I'm going to take slight underdogs in Andrade and Rey Fenix.
All right, I'm going to stick with Gacy and Lumis, two of my favorite wrestlers. I've always been a big Joe Gacy fan, and it's good to see him actually get a little gold.
I agree. I also say if the 6 don't win this, what are we doing with them? Like, what's the point?
That is true. All right, Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross again. Could this be Karrion Kross's final match? Supposedly his contract's up, and now Karrion Kross is not saying anything, says he can't talk about it right now. So maybe they're going to re-up he and Scarlett Bordeaux. I don't know if they're going to or not. Sami ain't won any of these, has he? So maybe I'm going to go with Karrion Kross again.
I'm going to go with Sami Zayn, but I think there's a reason for it. I think Karrion Kross is yay close to being the next like massively organically over guy, but I think he needs a trigger because I think what people really want to see is the return of Killer Kross, and I think if he loses to Sami, you have the reason to pull the trigger on a Killer Kross return. So I'm going to take Sami Zayn, but Killer Kross will return to smoke him at some point in the near future.
In a match that was made just so Roman Reigns would have something to do, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed.
I mean, you needed to get the guy back in the fold somehow, but there is a 0.0% chance that you're bringing Roman back for him to immediately take an L, Roman and Jey.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Still bored with this. but Lyra is starting to grow on me. Didn't think she would, and maybe working with Becky is helping her. Ugh, I just gave her some credit. I'm gonna go Lyra.
I am too. You've already had Becky go over at one point and kind of push Lyra into desperation mode. I think that's got to pay off.
All right, next match is Raquel Rodriguez. First time I've ever said that correctly. And Roxanne Perez versus Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. I love the pairing of Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Last week when Charlotte came out with the pom-poms, but she hid them behind her back until Alexa got her to use them. I thought that was great. It shouldn't be, but this is a hard thing to figure out. I'm going to go with Charlotte and Alexa.
So am I. And there's one predominant reason for that. They want Charlotte Flair to be the face of the women's division. I understand that. Charlotte Flair came back as a babyface. It went over like a fart in church. It was real bad. She even said in that show, the reaction that she got when she came out to stare down Tiff broke her. Like she. By the way,
you need to watch it because
I've seen that clip.
They go in depth.
No, I know. I've seen.
So
that,
you've seen how saw how someone got in trouble for that.
Yes, I did.
Tiffany Stratton got in trouble for that.
But I think what happened to that spot was Charlotte didn't turn. Charlotte got turned by that audience in Chicago, and this is how it's random. But Alexa Bliss has been the way to build her back to where they want her to be. But for that to happen, she's got to go over here. And I'm going to go with the inevitable conclusion, which is eventually Alexa turns on Charlotte.
Probably.
So I'm going to go Alexa and Charlotte here.
I will defend Charlotte forever. She is my friend. Anyway, AJ Styles versus Dominic Mysterio. What a lead up to this match.
It's been really fun.
This is my favorite thing. And what if Dominic Mysterio was able to beat AJ Styles? Dominic's wrestling has improved so much compared to where he was when he first started. Character work obviously is over the top heel. I want to say AJ is going to win. I'm just going to stick with Dominic. I think somehow, cheating of course, but somehow he wins.
I am going with Dominic, and I'm going with Dominic because he's also doing a match over in, AAA or whatever.
Yeah.
He's doing a match over there.
Where he's the man over there.
He absolutely is, and he's white hot. I think it's an immense boon, or at least they will think that it is, for WWE to send their Intercontinental Champion over there to do that match, even just to carry the belt in and look like a dude. But you got to put it on him for that to happen. Dominic wins this match, and this is one of my most confident bets of the night.
You said boon. I just want.
It's a boon.
It's a boon, but you said boon.
What do you want? I married my wife.
I know. Just every once in a while, those things slip through, and I think they're hilarious. I'm not being critical. I just think they're funny because I go through the same thing at home. And my wife is not Southern, but she works around a bunch of Southern people, and she comes home with a Southern accent. I'm like, what are you doing? Anyhow, she's going to hurt me for that. Randy Orton and Jelly Roll versus Logan Paul, mistaken for Baron Trump earlier on the on the internet. Look, Judge and Baron Trump. It's like, what is wrong with you people? I don't think Logan Paul looks anything like Baron Trump. As partner, Drew McIntyre, maybe. I don't know. Maybe not because of visa things. If not, it's going to be The Miz. It doesn't matter who they're facing. Randy Orton and Jelly Roll is going to win this.
That is correct. The only thing that genuinely interests me in this is twofold. Number one,
we've
been talking for a while about how Jelly Roll's lost 1,000 pounds to get to where he is. That is to do this. He told the story the other night where he said, I asked Triple H after I went out there for a guest cameo, can I do a match? And Triple H was like, yeah. He goes, I will lose 100 pounds for this. And he's done it. So as a former fat guy who's just a slightly less fat guy now, who understands the work that goes into that, I'm kind of pulling for the guy now. But they're not having him go out there to lose this match, whether or not it's McIntyre. And by the way, the most interesting about this is I have zero idea if the McIntyre thing is a work or a shoot or some combination of both. That's when wrestling is the best.
It is.
It's the best when those of us who are like, I'm cool with seeing stuff not in kayfabe. I don't care because I know they're actors doing a show. But when they manage to sucker me in and have me go, I don't know if this is or isn't, that's when it's at its best.
Do you think Jelly Roll can take an RKO? Does Randy do that? It's over, they win. Does he RKO? Because that's one of the things you want to happen to you if you are a celebrity going in there. You want to be RKO'd, don't you?
Oh, absolutely, 1,000%. But here's the thing. Jelly Roll has, shockingly, kind of gotten over with the wrestling crowd because he is committed to the bit, right? He's committed. Are you planning an Orton heel turn? Because that'd be an interesting way to kick it off. But we also had Orton, who he was out there.
It's not really a heel turn, though. He can't help himself. He just does that sometimes. And I think it's allowed by the fandoms. Like, it's just Randy.
For sure. We
It's
all
just
kind
Randy.
of, he has done this before where he's like had this and had a great interaction, and then he just RKO's a dude that you didn't see coming, and then he gets up and kind of laughs about it. And we all just kind of, I think that is kind of one of those
throws
sports
up
spots, the shrug.
Yeah, the shrug.
I think that is one of those spots that we as fans, I think we honestly just kind of accept that guy wanted to be RKO'd. That's why he did that.
Yeah.
We're cool with it because we would want it to.
All right, about 5 more matches to get through really quick. CM Punk versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. They're gonna take the belt off of Gunther again already?
I think so.
I think so too. Yep. I think CM Punk, if you watch the Netflix show, the reason why he was Xing is because he was bawling his eyes out after he was able to get the main event for WrestleMania after all that turmoil. And it made me feel for CM Punk. I don't like that. I don't like that. I had to re-examine myself and find my hatred again. Let's see, Naomi versus Rhea versus Io for the Women's World Championship. I'm going to say Naomi.
So am I.
Yeah.
So am I. You know I love me mommy. I want it to be mommy. I think Naomi's doing something special right now. I think we got to give her credit. This is the best she has ever
Best
looked.
run for her, for sure.
I agree.
Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill for the WWE Women's Championship. Is this when they pulled the trigger?
On Jade?
Yes.
Yes.
I think so too. And she's gotten better. So, but is she ready, and how long does she keep it?
I don't know, and I don't know. What I do know is Tiffany Stratton was absolutely white hot when she showed up, and I'm not saying that that's gone, but I think we all have to acknowledge that's cooled off amongst the crowd a little bit. Jade Cargill is, regardless of how you feel about her and her talent and ability, she comes out from behind the stage, place loses it. So
she
I think
absolutely should play Storm in the next X-Men.
I totally agree.
Yeah, she should. All right, and finally, John Cena versus Cody Rhodes in a street fight for the WWE Undisputed Championship. This is when Cody Rhodes turns heel and John Cena turns face again. Cody Rhodes has been pointed out wearing the Rock glasses when he was on TV, wearing the Rolex watch when he was on TV, all the things that The Rock did when the Final Boss came out and did what he did to Cody. This is when it's going to happen, right?
I don't know, man. Cena's been teasing for a long time that his final event is in December, I believe, which, if that is real, means he is not contracted to go through WrestleMania. I don't know if that's true or not. If it's not WrestleMania, it's SummerSlam. There's no other show between here and Mania that you can have, especially if you're going to do a massive double turn. And on top of that, because of you, Dwayne, the second biggest heel turn in the history of professional wrestling. Dwayne has been not a complete waste of time, but largely a waste of time compared to what it could be.
You need to watch that show. It's addressed a great deal. So,
cool.
Yeah.
They can address it however they want. It's the biggest waste of time of any massive storyline in wrestling. What's his face, rapper bro? He's just gone now. He just doesn't exist in that world anymore.
No, because they've had disputes behind the scenes, and because from what I've read, he did not want to put in the work to actually become a wrestler.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah,
it still makes it a waste of time. You should have made him prove that he was going to do the work.
That's who it was.
You should have made him prove he was going to do the work before you sent him out there to ruin that moment.
Did you believe Jelly Roll was going to do the work that he's done? I mean,
correct. But what did they do with him? Go do the work, then we'll put you in a match. Yeah. And they did that. They didn't do that with him. They just said, "Oh, you're going out with The Rock now."
They didn't do that with Bad Bunny or Logan Paul. They just let him get out.
I disagree. Both of those guys
worked.
They wasted the biggest thing of all time. And the reason I am willing to follow you and say I don't know that it's the double turn or just Cody outright wins the thing, but the reason I think they restriped Cody is because the whole thing with Cena hasn't worked. And so now what do? You set him up for a 5 months face run to get 18 and lay the belt down in the ring on his way out. I agree with that. I don't know if it's the turn. I don't know if it is the match that breaks Cena and he turns at a later show. I don't know. But I know that the second biggest turn in the history of professional wrestling has been a complete and total waste of time.
Yeah, I disagree.
And this is how you fix it.
But that's okay. So we're both saying that
Cody Rhodes wins.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, we are. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, ladies and gentlemen, I had to do a deep dive on a bit of data for the Atlanta Braves. And it's not about baseball. It is also going to be, I think, maybe the most hilarious thing you'll hear about the Braves in all of 2025. It's funnier than the baseball team's performance this year. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
You know, that just seems like more matches than was at WrestleMania.
I think that's why it's 2 days.
No, but I mean, WrestleMania was 2 days.
No, I think it was 2. But I think they spend so much time with the 7-minute vignettes during WrestleMania that it had to eat up 2 weeks. Just hope it ain't UGA anyway this year. Brandon, I got your Bulldogs in the SEC championship game this year. In fact, I actually picked them in my SEC Media Days preseason final order projection. I actually have Georgia winning the SEC this year. I think I have them winning the SEC. No, I don't think. I have them winning the SEC this year. All right, y'all stay right there. BRB. Okay, a couple quick things to hit on the way out. I found this clip from Major League Baseball player Whit Merrifield. Whit spent last year with the Atlanta Braves. He was on...
Hello, my name is Whit Merrifield.
It's a good baseball name. It really is. Whit Merrifield was on a baseball pod earlier this week, and he said this.
When I was with the Braves, one of the pitchers on the team last year, I won't say his name because I don't know if he'd like me sharing this, but before he pitches, we would go and there'd be like a group of like 5 or 6 of us that would go take a shot.
Love that.
One game, Usher was in town throwing out the first pitch, and he threw out the first pitch. We're all getting warmed up, go in the dugout. The pitcher comes in. We go upstairs to the locker room, and Usher's exiting, and I yell at him. I go, Usher, you want to take a shot? And he kind of laughed, and his manager was with him. He goes, I think he's serious. So Usher was like, yeah, I'll take a shot. So he came over, and there was like 8 of us around, and Usher did the salute, said, like, hope y'all win or something like that. And we took a shot with Usher before the game. And then we won.
Awesome.
So then we're like, we need Usher around all the time. Man.
Yeah.
One of the coolest things that's ever happened to me was taking a shot pregame with Usher.
So Whit Merrifield says, I'm not going to tell you who the pitcher is, but there's a pitcher for the Braves who, every time he's going to pitch, takes a shot before he goes out onto the baseball field. Now, I don't care. Cool. If that's what works, that's what works.
I must misheard or you misheard. I think he said they. I thought he meant all the guys take a shot.
No. He said.
Are you sure?
Yes, he said there is a pitcher in Atlanta who takes a shot before every game. He said now there are some guys that would take a shot with him, but there's one pitcher who every time he pitches, before he pitches, takes a shot. Cool, I got no problem with that. None at all. If a shot of Jose Cuervo helps you go out there and rack up 9 Ks through 6 innings, have at it, buddy.
You didn't do that today before you got here, did you?
No, I did not. And listen, I'll be honest with you. There have been in my past when I did night shows in bars. Yeah. Robbie B's not back a shot of whiskey before a show every now and then. It takes the old edge off. And there's an edge every show. So, I listened to Whit Merrifield when he said, I don't want to give it away in case he doesn't know. But then he told a story that before one of this guy's performances, Usher was in the house, the musician, the artist, and he said, we asked Usher, you want to take a shot? Usher said, yeah. So 7 or 8 of us gathered around a table. Usher gave a toast. We all took the shot. He said, hope you all win. Good luck. That was one of the coolest things. So I said, wait a minute. It's a home game. Usher was there, and this guy was pitching. I can figure out who this is.
Okay.
So I went and I researched Atlanta Braves home games where Usher was in attendance. It has happened twice. Now, it happened once this year. It happened earlier this year, and Chris Sale was pitching. 6 innings, 5 hits, 6 strikeouts, 1 earned run. Scratch that. Sorry. Mets. It was against the Mets. They won 5-0. Chris Sale went 8.2, 5 hits, 7 strikeouts, 0 earned runs. So if it's Chris Sale, buddy, I will buy the next shot of booze for you because that's one of 8 good pitching performances from the Braves this year. But what Merrifield said, he was with the Braves. He was not with the Braves this year, so it's not this year, so I had to go back in the past, and I did. And I went and found out that last year, on September 14th, the Atlanta Braves were at home playing the LA Dodgers, a game that they won 10-1. The pitcher that day went 6 innings, 5 hits, 6 strikeouts, 1 earned run, and the pitcher was Chris Sale. So now, courtesy of Whit Merrifield, who said, I don't want to tell you who it is, but then said, but this guy was pitching when Usher was there for a home game. When I was a Brave, who was a Brave for 1 year, Usher came 1 time. It was at A when Chris Sale went to the bump, went 6 innings, 5 hits, 6 strikeouts, 1 earned run. By the way, Whit Merrifield, who took a shot before that game, 3 for 4 with an RBI.
I was going to ask you, though, did he necessarily point out that it was the starting pitcher? Could it have been someone who...
It could have been.
Yeah.
It could have been.
Pitched relief.
It could have been. And that is why it's up in the air. But I'm willing to roll the dice. I'm willing to roll the dice and say it's got to be Chris Sale. Because 2 times Chris Sale has pitched a game with Usher, both times electric performance. I am going to say that Chris Sale is the pitcher who knocks back a shot of something before he goes out to the bump and apparently is lights out. By the way, since he showed up to Atlanta, Chris Sale's been the best pitcher not named Spencer Strider in the building. He was a Cy Young candidate before he broke 2 ribs this year. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not saying that I endorse knocking back a shot of liquor before you do your job, unless you're Chris Sale, in which case I'll buy the next bottle, bud.
Yeah, if you're driving, you probably, don't do,
yeah, obviously.
If you're part of the Armada, don't do that.
Obviously. But if you are a Major League Baseball pitcher, full endorsement. Do it. Absolutely, because it's clearly working for Chris Sale. Spectacular. Absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, that's all I got. I had some more stuff, but we'll get to it because we got one more show this week. Cool.
Now, the Rob Brown Shield presents.
You should laugh. That was bad.
I don't disagree.
And
I looked up. I had one more, but then I'm like, oh, we got like 22 seconds.
And
That's
otherwise,
not enough time.
Above average, a really good show, I thought.
I agree.
You just rounded out with that.
What do you want? What do you want?
Maybe if you took a shot before the show.
99 yards, and then I ran a sweep play on goal to go. I Steve Sarkisian'd our show. What do you want?
I thought you fumbled out of the back of the end zone. But anyway, all right, the first thing that's Xing is, speaking of fumbling out of the back of the end zone, no, that's a horrible transition. I'm not going to do that to myself. All right, the first thing that's Xing is Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa Xing. I got nothing. I'm going to simply cross my fingers and hope that it is a superhero movie correlation.
No, he shaved his beard.
Okay. I mean, listen.
Have you seen him without? He shaved his beard because Dune 3 is getting ready to start.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and he's in that. So it's a different look when you see him without his beard.
As a bearded American, here's what I'll tell you. With the beard, I look like this. Without the beard, my own wife describes me as a, quote, particularly bad Southern Baptist Quartet member. When I shave the beard, I am a different human being. There is one reason and one reason alone.
He would sing tenor.
100%. There is one reason and one reason alone that I do not occasionally, just to change up the vibes, shave the beard. And that is because the beard does a wonderful job at hiding second chins and occasionally third chins. I've told her, if I get down to under 200 pounds, I'm going to clean shave just to see what it looks like.
Please don't do
just
that.
to see what it looks
Please.
like. I'll let it grow back. I'll let it get back to normal. But if I get under it, I'm 205 now. If I get under 200 pounds, I'm going to clean shave just to see what I look like with less of a second chin. Because I honestly don't remember.
Were you here when Chris had a beard like down to...
Yes.
And then he shaved it off?
Different guy.
Yeah, and that's that was disturbing. I almost asked him, hey, who are you?
Last time...
I don't think I had that problem because you're taller, so I don't know.
The last time that I was fully clean shaven.
You started to say cleavage for some reason.
The last time that I was fully clean shaven was 2017. It has been 8 years since the last time I was fully clean shaven. If I get to 199, I am going clean shaven just to see what I look like.
Oh. Now I'm rooting against the weight loss. All right. And I never thought I'd say that.
The wife did say she'd be cooler with the long hair if I was clean shaven. She's like, you got to pick one or the other. If you go long hair and beard,
all right, you sold me.
I will look homeless.
You sold me. All right. The next thing that's Xing is Shannon Sharpe.
Shannon Sharpe Xing because he has been fired from ESPN. Shannon has to pay a young lady.
Well, she already he settled.
Has to pay a young lady like $24 million over sexual abuse claims. And when that settlement came down and he got told you got to pay that money, ESPN was like, all right, that's enough of that. I think they were probably already looking for an out because Shannon's kind of been up and down with them with his behavior away from the net, but this was the trigger to get rid of Shannon Sharpe, and I get it.
All right, the next thing that's Xing is Xbox Game Pass.
Are we getting a series of games coming?
This has to do with revenue.
You
know, a lot of PlayStation people going, well, they don't even make money. They just made $5 billion.
They have released a handful of games that I have gone and got. There are some stretches on Xbox Game Pass where I'm like, there's nothing here for me. But every now and then they drop like an EA title or a Star Wars title or something like that I'm like, well, I'm obviously getting that. And I also know that boost subscribers. So that checks out.
All right, two more. The next one is Brand New Day. No, not Brand New Day, as in Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Yes.
We are exactly 1 year away from it.
So I saw yesterday.
It would release today.
Next year?
Next year.
I'm in.
Yes.
I saw yesterday a report, and again, everybody's got their rumors, but that this Spider-Man movie is going to be separated from the Avengers stuff, from the Doomsday stuff, And it makes sense because it's like nobody knows who he is.
It's going to be grounded, and we know the
Street level,
we know the
Punisher's in
Punisher's
it.
going to be in it.
So I wonder if that is going to be like, it's unrelated to the Doomsday
Fisk
stuff.
knows he exists. He mentioned him.
But he's forgotten who he is.
Well, he probably never knew.
Or
he
never
was.
knew.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see
well,
what they
actually,
do.
no, everyone knew.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if this is a let's reset Spider-Man into this universe, or if he is now totally separated.
All right, finally, and we got to go. This is Exy, and I don't know why. Football is back.
Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, children of all ages, the United States of America proudly presents Football Day! NFL Hall of Fame game tonight, 8 p.m. Don't miss it because you better damn well believe we're going to be talking about it tomorrow. Thanks for being here. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you didn't, it's your problem. Come back tomorrow. We'll do it again, and we will break down a football game. He's Lonzo. I'm Rob. Have a great rest of your day. It's the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Later.
You're such an a-hole.
I don't know. Who was that directed at?
It was directed at, that's the shortest clip I had to play when you were giving me the.
Okay. All right.
It was that or like a 4-second one. So I'm like, Oh, man. Well, that was fun. That was fun. But all good things must come to an end, huh? Chris Sale would make a great trade target for someone. If Chris Sale wasn't on the IL for probably another month plus, James, I would say yes. I would also say it's the injury in particular because a broken rib, fractured rib. I've had that exact injury. And actually, if I recall correctly, I think it's either the same rib or like in the same area that Chris Sale had a fractured rib. I've had a fractured rib. And I can tell you I mean it when I say, James, for about 3 weeks, everything hurts. And I don't mean like your body. I mean doing anything hurts. If you stand up, it hurts. If you lay down, it hurts. If you sit down, it hurts. If you breathe, it hurts. If you hold your breath, it hurts. If you laugh, it hurts. If you cry, it hurts. If you talk, it hurts. If you don't talk, it hurts. Everything hurts. And it takes a week just for that hurt to go away. And then after that hurt goes away, you're still bruised up. So it doesn't hurt as bad, but it still hurts to do stuff. When I had mine, after the rib healed itself and I was still bruised, it basically went to, I spent like 2 more weeks effectively doing nothing. I talked on the radio and then I went home and I sat in my lazy boy and did nothing because any movement outside of just like walk carefully hurt. Chris Sale, to pitch, has to, for every motion of what he does, engage that area. It is going to be weeks before Chris Sale can even start rehab. And then he's going to have to do some rehab to get right. One of the worst things that could happen to the Braves was Chris Sale getting hurt, because I absolutely agree. I think Chris Sale would have been the most lucrative trade piece that the Braves had. I think they could have genuinely, top to bottom, restocked their farm system, maybe just on Chris Sale, because you're seeing what the pitching premium looks like right now. They could have top to bottom restocked their entire farm system just with Chris Sale. But because nobody's going to want a guy that not only do they have to wait a number of weeks, if not more than a month until he comes back from now, but it's also a dude that when he comes back, you don't know if he's going to be that guy or if it's going to take maybe a hot minute to get his life back together. So he's not worth it right now. I don't think Chris Sale's getting moved. And if the Braves are going to be, if they're going to bounce back next year under a new manager, Chris Sale will be wonderful to base that around. I just don't know if he'll still be there or if it's going to matter. So other than that, you're absolutely right. All right, dudes and dudettes, thanks for being here. You're all amazing people. Tell your friends about us because Lonzo and I want to retire with money. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.